You're not enjoying hockey?
Oh, I love hockey, but I would like a weekend to just breathe.
You know, I really thought that, so this year's legislative conference at NACO, when we were there last year during the State of the Union, we were sitting in the cafeteria and all of the guests were filing by us and they were sitting next to us and they cordoned off this area in the cafeteria. I was sure this year we were going to run into the hockey. And I was totally going to get selfies and then we never did. And we walked every flipping hallway in Washington DC and never saw them. So,
What's up, Brandon?
anyway. All right, so welcome back. We'll kind of restart this. So we're starting with a discussion about an ICE incident and the communication about it and what I think the issue is and where we need the help, and that's why Joey and Brandon are here. So we did have a couple of ICE officers have an interaction with our security guard, and there were rumors about how it was handled, and we did speak with the guard. And the guard indicated that, you know, it was mostly a reasonable exchange. One of the guards, not both of them, and not the female, but one of the guards just didn't want to show ID. And it seemed like he just needed to kind of check his ego at the door more than anything else, right? But where I think the issue lies is we have an old policy from Kevin McCrae that I don't know was ever formalized, and I think I sent you an email about that a couple weeks ago. And his instruction and in their book is that ICE can operate in our facilities. They're supposed to show ID and just say we're federal officials, sign the book, and they can go. Good enough. Where the guard got confused was the guy was wearing a firearm, and there's an RCW that's plastered on our wall that says you can't have a firearm anywhere near a courtroom. That's the RCW. The third inflection point here is GR 36, which talks about courthouse security. And I believe in GR 36, it states that as long as an officer is in the official capacity of his duties, he can have his firearm. So we just don't know. So we need to reconcile those three differences if we can, so that we can train the guards correctly, I guess. And they're comfortable with how they interact with ICE. And so I think that's what happened. I think the guard was confused because he saw a firearm, didn't know what to do, just told the guy, I can't let you pass because that's the RCW.
Right.
When you say they're showing ID, you make them show their driver's license, or if they show you their federal badge?
As far as I know, it's their federal badge.
So why do we make, if Washington State Patrol comes in here and shows their badge, do they have to sign a book too?
No, it's federal officials. Yeah, so it's if you're a federal law enforcement officer. So the state doesn't, and most of the time when they're in their official capacity, the state patrol is in his uniform. These guys in their uniform, Detroit PD, Moses Lake PD, it's very easy to tell. Our ICE officers showed up in jeans and flannel shirts and looked like they were on their way to the, parts.
So we've had ATF agents come and testify before.
Yeah, there's.
We treated them the same. I'm just trying to figure out where the discrepancy is between.
Well, if you have somebody, so if you've got somebody coming up to testify though, they're showing up to testify. They're not showing up to do a law enforcement action, right?
That is a law enforcement action.
Well, I guess, okay.
I think the problem with this particular event is that two of the ICE agents showed their badges, gave them their proper ID. The third, he didn't want to cooperate.
Okay.
It would be very difficult.
Does he have to?
And that's what we're trying to do.
That's what we're trying
Are
to
we talking
determine.
about the video that you and I were?
Yeah,
sent?
yeah.
So in that video, the two male ICE agents had their ICE coats on with patches on their shoulders, said federal litigation on there. So they just show up unmarked. They had coats on that had their insignias on their, basically these, or
Sure.
that said immigration. The one that didn't was the female one, who used to actually be housed in our office, along with one of the male ICE agents used to be housed in our office. She has been here and worked several cases, child abuse cases with our detectives and partnered with our agency, I don't know how many times. She was there in plain clothes. She showed her credentials fine, but the other two had coats on identifying who they were.
Okay.
So it wasn't, they don't wear a uniform, but they had their coats on identifying who they were.
The only, and that's fine, and I get that. The only pushback I would have to that is I can go down to a pawn shop and I can buy a US military uniform. And I could probably find something with, I don't know. I know I'm reaching here and it's kind of in the weeds,
That's fine.
right?
I'm just gonna talk about the pink elephant in the room. I think the problem is what everyone wants to talk about is ICE. That's the issue,
That's
okay?
what I think.
And
That's,
I'm gonna just bring the elephant out in the room, okay? But we don't do this with the FBI. We don't do it with DEA. We don't do it with ATF. We don't do it with HSI. They were there, showed the right credentials, and it was no problem. Though they're performing a law enforcement function, we shouldn't be there stopping them doing their law enforcement function. That's not our job. I think if we're gonna get in the business of restricting federal agents that come into the courthouse because we don't like their acronym, that's bad business. That's my personal opinion. And if I don't care what federal agencies coming in to do law enforcement function and they're assisting my office, I'm letting them in. They're coming in as a cop, because that's what they are.
So I
Well,
think, I'm sorry, I don't think it was an ICE, I don't think it had anything to do with ICE. I think the kid got confused because he saw a firearm.
And
And
I
the
think
guy
it
was
had
in-
to do with ICE.
I
From
think
all of the stuff I heard, it had to do with ICE. It didn't have anything to do with the
Okay,
firearm.
so Tom and I met with the security guard this morning, and it didn't have anything to do with ICE. It had to do with firearm.
Then why run around the courthouse talking about how you didn't let ICE pass?
So the next question I have is who was doing that? Because I had a meeting with Kevin last week and Daryl was in the room and Daryl knew everything about it. And it wasn't that guard that told him. It was a different guard that wasn't even there. And we're addressing that this
So
week.
it's rumors.
And I'll tell you, the one thing that I will 100% agree with what Tom deals with those security guards extremely appropriately and very timely. So when we saw the same video, we both kind of went, this is not the story that was relayed to us. So I wasn't bothered one bit knowing Tom was going to address the issue because he has before, and that was not an issue to me. But in the video, there's a lot of smiling, there was a lot of laughing, there was a lot of joking. I didn't see, of course, I couldn't hear the audio, right?
Yeah.
But there were no fingers pointing, there were no frown faces, nobody was upset. And that was a little different story than you and I presented initially.
And the other
So-
interesting thing that the guard told us about this morning was his partner that was there, Raymond, he was upset by the whole thing and didn't like the whole thing. And he's no longer employed here. So as a matter of fact, he left the security company and is now not even gonna be back. So I don't know how much of it was him, but he's not even here. So some part of that, which now I can't get to the bottom of, may have already addressed itself.
Yeah. And it may have. And I guess my comments were up, I was talking more globally, not this one specific incident. I think globally, if we're gonna get into the business, limiting our federal partners coming in here, it's a mistake. But I'm not the prosecutor. I would defer to Brandon for sure.
That is exactly why I was asking what we do with the other federal
Yeah.
agencies that
Yeah.
come, because I've never heard of this issue be exploded to
Yeah.
this level before.
Me either.
I have had ATF agents come in, I've had people from the DEA come into
Right.
the office, the FBI, and not one time has it been like, oh, well, they refuse to show their badge. So I think that it is, I mean.
And I'm wondering how
I
much of
believe
this is
the
because of
elephant-
rumors and somebody else running around the courthouse, as
Mhm.
Commissioner Jones said, talking about it in a way that shouldn't have done.
Well, and obviously, if the rumors out there is coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and to be fair, this is not uncommon. This is happening all throughout the state because of, it's a hot topic. If they're here performing a law enforcement function.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to help them, for example, unless it's a criminal matter. And even then, it's just basically, usually just letting Joey know, like, by the way, they're here for an arrest warrant on a person.
Well, and for me, the only thing I'm worried about is how to best instruct the guards when you have a law enforcement officer with a firearm, right? What is the direction to the guards so that they know and there's not a question?
Right.
I guess my answer is pretty simple, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but if they're a law enforcement officer, federal or state, and they're there, they're law enforcement.
Okay, so they
And
just,
does that jive with GR 36? Because I got run over the coals with GR 36 by the courthouse security committee, if you
Identification,
remember
yes.
that.
I think that it is. Let me double.
And if they're coming in, and sorry, Decor was asking a question, but if they're coming in plain clothes, I think it's very appropriate for the security guards to ask for identification. When I've gone to the Spokane County Courthouse, if I'm in plain clothes, I show identification.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very appropriate. There's nothing wrong with that. And if they're in plain clothes, they should have to show
Well, I think
identification.
that, yeah,
Thank you for that
they
clarification.
definitely need to show some form of I am a legitimate law enforcement officer.
Well, and I think the security guard was concerned that if, this person walked through and, shot one of the judges, he would be responsible.
Sure.
I think that was his biggest concern.
Sure.
Well, and in our interview with him today, it seemed like the issue wasn't an issue until he told the officer, he goes, well, I'm trying to do my job, and the sign right there says you can't have a firearm. You're welcome to leave it in your car or leave it in the stun locker. And that's when the guy got a little bit snippy apparently and said, I don't have to. So again, the clarification on that issue, I think, solves a lot of this as well.
Yes.
So,
Definitely.
and as long as it jives with that,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna take your guys' direction.
Sure.
And as
Well, I'm
I
gonna
said,
take
you were
Brandon's,
part of the security committee, and I
Yep.
remember I was the one at the table getting beat up because it was courthouse security and this is what the Supreme Court says, so. You're like, okay.
Yeah, no, I think it's very appropriate for identification if they're in plain clothes for sure. I mean, they should. I mean, we do when we go to other courthouses.
And the policy that Tom shared with you is not an active policy within our system, so in all your spare time, Brandon, if you would review it.
I already have, I also sent it out to other offices to
Okay.
get kind of like the vibe
Great.
and trust there. Just to
Awesome.
kind
Thank
of
you.
just gauge the temperature of where other people are.
Okay, perfect.
Obviously complying with the Keep Washington Workers Act or whatever it's called.
Great, and then when you're done with that process, if you can shoot it to me and I'll get it to the board for their review and we can make it a live policy. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. And then we'll follow up accordingly. And as far as the guard, we know of this running around talking about this. We're gonna be taking care of that this week. We're already on it. So now that we've found out what's going on there.
But I guess I still would like to go back though. Do we know when there are DEA or ATF agents that come in here, is the same scrutiny being held up with them as it was for this person?
Well, I guess the question is, so, the policy that was put forth by Kevin, right, was just very matter of fact. If you're a federal officer, you're supposed to announce yourself. But if somebody walks in like you're dressed, right, and you're not wearing badging or anything like that, as far as I know, you're just an attorney from the bar here in Grant County, right? You just walk through the metal detector. How are we supposed to know? So, these guys, they show up and they're wearing all of their stuff. So we know they're ICE because that's what it says. Most of those people, if they show up to testify, are they in a uniform or are they in a suit? How are we even gonna know?
It depends on the agency and their capacity, right?
Yeah,
Like
so
the
typically-
undercover
And would they
narcs,
be-
for example, they're
Yeah.
not showing up in suits and stuff. They're showing up with how they go out in the field.
Yeah, but again, they're not gonna have anything on them that identifies them as, right,
Right.
outwardly. So they just look like somebody from the public. Right.
But are they
So-
carrying a firearm?
Yeah.
Okay, then they should
And
be.
they probably either
Held to that
leave it in their
standard.
car or they put it in the gun locker without incident or, I mean, I don't care. Whatever's allowed is whatever's allowed.
I'm guessing they're identifying themselves, so.
Yeah.
If
So
you
I don't-
identify yourself, you can enter with a firearm.
If you're an
If you're a
officer.
law enforcement official.
Yeah.
So we can.
Where's
check-
all the confusion, in all this? The guy just chose not to identify himself, so he didn't go in.
I don't know, I didn't.
It's
like,
that,
I didn't see on the video that anybody failed to identify
the
themselves.
the confusion lies in with the guard where a guy had a firearm and he was looking at the sign that we have, a sign this big on the wall that says you can't take a firearm in.
Even with identification.
It doesn't say that on the sign
How long
and
has he worked here?
so,
This was his first interaction.
yeah.
Is this first day?
No, it's
No,
first
he's been
interaction.
Here though,
First interaction with a.
I saw, yeah,
but he's been here
About a year.
a year,
yeah, yeah.
but doesn't know.
I think in his
It's an issue
defense, it's been
also,
pretty
right?
black and white in the past, right? So
Yeah,
most people have complied and showed credentials.
Which
This
did or
said-
didn't happen,
The individual had a jacket on that said ICE.
but didn't show his
He didn't pull
identification.
out a badge or anything else to confirm it.
Okay, so then he didn't go in. That's fine with me.
yeah, and he sat, by all
Yeah, I
appearances,
saw
quite
the video.
pleasantly, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah.
So to Brandon's point, I think we can check that logbook
Yeah.
and, because I'm sure it has their name and that,
Yeah.
and the department or office in which they are employed, to verify that for you.
And just my thought is that if I'm an ICE agent, I'm coming in and I get questioned, I don't have a problem going, hey, I'm for real, right? So I mean, we can ask an officer when you get pulled over, and not that I've been pulled over in 40 years, Joey. But you can
Not
ask for,
yet.
you can
Today's
ask
your
for a
lucky day.
badge, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I wouldn't see why it would be different for these guys to confirm whoever it is coming through that they're for real. I don't think they were trying to impede them. I don't think they were trying to stop them because of ICE. I think he was like, I have a person here, I'm not 100% sure. I know this person is for real, but is this person not? Maybe you didn't.
And that guard that had the interaction, I don't think he's the one walking around gossiping. I think it's somebody else. And I think that's where all this started.
I think we just need to get it figured out.
Yeah.
Let them know how it works and move on.
I
Well,
figured out it's a little
And I
different
will
though.
be contacting the officer to get their side of the story as well.
and what's that, Rob?
I said my figure it out's a little bit different.
Well, what is your figure it out?
My figure it out is if you're going to run around a courthouse spreading rumors and drama about something like that, because it's a political hot topic, that you don't necessarily need to work at a courthouse.
I would agree.
That's my stance on this.
And all I'm saying is the guard that had the incident was not the one doing that. That's
Okay.
what I've figured out. It's a different one.
Well, and possibly other employees
Yeah.
talking about it. So,
Yeah.
and
Isn't it possible that it was talked about outside of here as well by an employee?
yes, it was.
So not just the guards.
Do we know which office?
Yes. We do.
Is it spreading through offices?
Probably, yeah.
Do you
I
want
mean,
to go into executive session?
yeah.
Can we go into executive session for 5 minutes to discuss?
I think it's the rest of the story.
Thanks, Scott.
You want personnel and disciplinary matters?
Sure.
Okay. We're gonna go into executive session for personnel disciplinary matters, RCW 42.30.1101F for 5 minutes, coming out at 8:55. It is 8:55. We're coming out of executive session. No decisions were made.
Okay. Next, since I've got you here, so it came to light in a meeting, and I'll just be honest, my recollection, it was the first I'd heard of it. So I was kind of surprised that INET is not moving into the new jail facility, and we've got a lot of space and a lot of furniture getting ready to be purchased for INET. Their names are on placards on the walls, on the doors. So it's a little bit surprising to know that they're not moving in there. And I'm just wondering if you can
Yes.
explain what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. So in July 28th, at one of my updates, we came into the commissioners and let them know that there was a conversation happening that we may move them offsite to a remote location because one of our partnering agencies was very concerned about the clandestine portion of the task force. With them being in the same location of inmates getting released, where the jail is, parking their cars, seeing what cars they drive. That was a concern to one of our partnering agencies, which I totally understand, completely get it. So we were researching for different locations because that partnering agency was going to pick up the tab for that additional cost offsite for them to be housed there. It still just is being looked at. They're still not moving out of there for sure right now. They're still going up there as of today.
Okay.
They're going up to the new facility, but they are researching the information to see what it is. But like I said, because one of our partnering agencies wants to foot the bill at the time. However, they've had some leadership changes in that agency right now. So that won't even happen until December as far as more conversation goes about it. So it's on a dead pause right now. So as of right now, we're moving everybody up there.
I can ask you a favor.
Sure.
So, and I don't know how, again, if we talk about communications, obviously it's something we have to address in this county. I found out through somebody in my IT department who's been discussing it with somebody in your department, and I was told it was a done deal. So
Yeah, no, it's not.
And My point being is, it would be great to be having those conversations with you or Phil or whoever,
Yeah.
instead of it being with somebody else in another department.
Yeah. And if that day would come, we would move,
Yeah.
that would happen, but that wasn't happening. It was literally doing research to find out if it did happen, what would we have to do to get everything in order for it to happen. So I think the reason why they reached out to you guys, I'm guessing because we have the on-site location server down there right now. And they were talking about the move and is the connection still gonna be secured? Is it a Grant County connection? Well, if that's the case, does anything have to be changed different? Any other costs we have to look at absorbing? So I think they were just doing some research, Tom, but it wasn't a done deal because that one we were looking at is already not happening. We know that. That is a done deal. That's not happening.
Yeah.
So option number 2 they were looking at as of right now still isn't even happening now. So everybody's still planning on doing the move up there. So, yeah. Yeah, everything has kind of just been research right now because like I said, our partnering agency, who's very, very involved with the task force, has kind of requested that, which I completely understand. I get it. Yeah.
I'm just curious, does that partnering agency go to their current location?
Do they go to it? Yeah.
And is that a concern for that agency?
Oh, yeah,
Because everybody knows that that's
It is.
where it's at.
it is.
Okay.
And that's the problem,
Yeah.
because everybody knows where it's at.
Yeah.
And that's the issue that they have. The difference is right now, like for instance, just as an example, all of our correction staff that parks out behind the jail right now, they've had issues with inmates that have gotten released, find out what cars belong to people and who goes to what car, to know who drives that car when they leave. That's a problem. That's a security issue, in my opinion. That's the same thing that they would be concerned with our task force operators, because they park outside the jail and it's not real hard to stand out and wait for somebody to drive out in a car that comes out. It's just not difficult to do. So if you're off-site at a different spot where people are getting released from jail, then it makes it a little bit more difficult. I'm not gonna say impossible because we have the issue now, right?
Right.
So it's not impossible. It just does make it a little bit more difficult to do that type of thing. So, yeah.
Outside of that, I don't have anything else with the sheriff or the prosecutor today, so if you guys, unless the commissioners
Feels
have
like you're
questions.
free to go.
Yes. Okay.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, you bet.
So,
Anytime.
It's 9 o'clock. Do we have Zach?
well, I'm not done with my update, so.
Well, you're done with me. Alrighty.
Oh, you're aware that the sheriff from Yakima
He is
County is
online?
touring this week?
Not yet.
Corrections?
I saw him this weekend, or this last week, excuse me. I thought he mentioned it to me. So yeah, I'm not,
Yeah, talk to Phil, he's got a schedule. So Phil, I think
Okay.
Phil was a little surprised, it just kind of came out of the blue.
perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Apple pickup.
Let's see. You want to go into your clerk of the board update before I continue on with all my stuff?
I'll start with the fast stuff in case Zach logs on here soon. Columbia Basin Development League reached out. The commissioners pay for an unlimited membership bundle. Currently, there's only 3 of you guys that are assigned as members, but you can add as many people as you want. So they were wondering if there were any additional people that you wanted added to your guys' account as members.
Well, it should be just Grant County, not us personally.
The commissioners pay for their, like the Grant County Commissioners membership. And so then you 3 are all designated as members, but there's nobody else currently that's designated as a member. Zach is online now.
Okay.
But just reaching out to ask if you guys want anybody else designated under the Grant County Commissioners membership.
Want Tom on there? Does Tom need to be on there?
Tom can be on there. You can designate whoever you guys
I just
like.
didn't realize we had to put names with it. It's just not, okay.
Probably should, I mean, we should, he's our county administrator, it's kind of important. Thought that's what we have him here for.
Okay.
So, let's add him.
From Cindy, good with that also? And Zach is online now, so.
Okay. You wanna go, Zach?
And
Morning, Zach.
Morning, Zach.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Good, how are you?
Wonderful, doing all the good work. We're pretty sidelined, so not a lot more we can do this session, I tell you that much.
So how many bills last week got signed at 1:30 in the morning?
Well, I don't know about signed, but certainly passed at 1:30 in the morning. Primarily, the big one that was a late night one was a sheriff's bill. Um, we really don't like that one. I don't think there's a sheriff out there that's supporting it. And I gotta imagine there's going to be some sort of a court challenge to this bill because the precedent set in that thing is just nasty. I mean, by the same logic, we could say, hey, we need a commission to review county commissioners' performance. We need a commission to review the legislators' performance. The governor, even maybe attorney general. So I just, what was that?
They'll insulate themselves from that.
Well, I mean, yeah, and which is why I think, I imagine there's going to be some sort of a court filing here on that one. It's still, for us, the background checks become extremely expensive. That's, I think, the biggest concern for us. I don't know how workable that is, and then you've got the issues. What happens if there's one sheriff candidate running unopposed come, I don't know, middle of September, and something happens with that individual and they're incapacitated. There's not time to do a background check based on the Criminal Justice Training Center's backlog. What do we do? Do we just go without a sheriff? Do we elect somebody and then do the background check? So there's some of those actual procedural problems with the bill. It's not a good bill. I mean, whether you agree with the policy or not, it's poorly written and it just has structural issues. So I don't really know how they're going to address that. And there's at least one sitting sheriff who sounds like is gonna lose his seat because he doesn't have the 5-year requisite criminal justice background or law enforcement background. That you can make a good case saying, okay, hey, the sheriff needs to be a law enforcement officer, but in all reality, the sheriff is an administrative position. In the smaller counties, yeah, your sheriff might do more police work than you would in, say, Spokane, Pierce, King, etc. But we actually there's a process for an individual who doesn't have a criminal justice training center certification in Washington. Sheriffs go through it's like a 6 or an 8 week course. It gets them up to speed on all the things that are going to be required of a sheriff. So there's processes. Point is, I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't know if there's going to be legal challenges, probably, at least in part. Not quite the legal battle ahead for that one that we see with the income tax. I'm sure that you guys have been watching that one as well. The interesting thing about that bill, and I don't know if we talked about it, if you stayed late for after the steering committee, but we had Democratic senators coming out and telling directly that the intent is that threshold will not remain at $1 million, but it will go to 250,000. I think they've done the math and basically figured for their budget size growth to maintain what they're doing, they need to have that at a $250,000 limit. So that's a little bit disingenuous. I think that's pretty been pretty clear as we've gone through this. So that's kind of a pain. I don't really know what's going to happen there. The governor has said that he wants to sign this version. It's really no better. For counties, it's worse. We get less money, if any, and we still have the tax exemptions. So being that it goes into effect in 2028, it's not going to affect your guys' budget for next year. And realistically, I heard it was put as the pessimistic or maybe a realistic view from one of the other lobbyists. talking about it and said, well, the state's going to be in just as bad or worse of a position in 2028. So they're probably going to pull back all those tax exemptions. So we probably don't have to worry. Now, at this point in time, if the bill sticks, we do need to worry. And kind of the conversations have been, well, okay, if you're going to exempt, say, 50% of the items on which we have sales tax, we're going to have to double the sales tax on other things just to balance out our budgets at the county level. Nobody wants to do that. It's not a good look. It's just not a good thing. So those are the big concerns there. We've seen a lot of Washington businesses, the hiring is down in the last week. We've seen both Boeing and Starbucks establish secondary corporate offices in other states, Tennessee and South Carolina, I think. And, the thoughts they're going, oh no, we're not going to leave Washington, but they're being very careful in saying, okay, Boeing might not leave Washington, Starbucks might not leave Washington, but their top earners very well may. So that's a tough one. The other bill that they did pass that is really and depending on how they wield this hammer, that's the AG's bill 5925 that it really talks about possible civil infractions and gives the attorney general pretty significant investigation powers, and it's outside of public records requests and things like that. But if they suspect that you guys or someone in the county or any individual has committed what could be a civil infraction, whether it's voting rights, civil rights, a constitutional violation, state or federal, they can request tons and tons and tons and tons of documents, and there is nothing in there to accommodate costs or inconvenience. I guess there's probably really nothing in there that says you have to do it in a super timely manner or defines timely manner, so you could take your sweet time doing it. But that one really looks like a heck of an overreach for the attorney general. And in terms of staying power and big problems for our counties, in years to come, those are the three biggest bills that I wish I could say we could do something about it. But those are the three that passed so far or are going to pass or most likely going to pass that are really a problem for us.
I'm just going to ask you about one more then real quick, and I know I've got quite a bit more to get to today, but we have some amendments being offered to Senate Bill 6355 by Mary Dye.
Okay.
This has to do with the Washington Electric Transmission Authority being created, and
Yep.
the loss of property taxes for counties. Are you familiar with the amendments that she's putting forth, that she's asking all these counties to support?
Yes, and I believe it looks really similar to what Senator Short put out. But looking at that bill right now, I guess it is scheduled for executive session in appropriations. They may move this thing. I don't know what they're gonna do with it though.
So is it worth it? I guess if I were to put together a letter on letterhead or whatever and ask my commissioners to sign it, is it valuable to do that at this point, or is it not valuable to do that at this point?
Let's see what they do if they exec it here, because they've been in for about a little over an hour and a quarter coming up here in that committee. If they exec it, absolutely it is. Okay. So I know that there's a lot of contention around it, and they've kind of been seeing some interesting coincidence pop up with support for the bill and a few other statements that have been made. So I think they're kind of seeing the end game. I don't know, but let's see if they exec it here. and we will decide from there, I think, what to do.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. If you can kind of keep your thumb on the pulse of that when it gets out of exec session or whatever, if you could let me know, so I could move on it pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
That would be great. And I'm gonna ask our commissioners here if they've got anything for you. And otherwise, I've got a lot to get to, Zach. I'm sorry.
Hey, no problem. I'm here for you guys. At this point in session, I mean, we're down to Hail Marys, to be honest. So if you guys don't have anything else, by all means, carry on.
Commissioners?
I don't have anything else. That one you just asked about was the one I was worried about.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will keep an eye on it and we'll get back to you guys here as soon as I learn something.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Zach.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a good day.
You too.
So I believe Rebecca Martina from the Fairgrounds is online, and I invited her to my update this morning to discuss the consent item that was pulled about the security for the upcoming event. I had stopped by there last week to talk about that and talk to Chris about a number of things. That is a co-sponsored event by the Fairgrounds, and they're going to have staff there for the whole thing. And I don't know if we were aware of that. So Rebecca, do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So, like Tom mentioned, this is an event co-hosted by the Fairgrounds. Our entire staff will be here. The event runs from 4 to 7 p.m. Our entire staff will be here till 5 p.m. And then we have one remaining staff member that's going to be on site for the remainder of the event. And so that there's usually always been at least one staff member on site for the whole event.
So I don't know if that sheds any light into how the board feels about security for that event. And then once going forward, I didn't know if that would cause the needle to move at all for any of you, but it was important to them.
I think it's important that we treat each event, even if we are sponsoring it, Grant County is. If we require others to have security, I just feel like I know it doesn't feel very fun, but if others are requiring security, we need to sit down and, I guess, figure out instead of just picking some, that yes, we will let them move forward without security.
Yeah. Well, I know, so my perception of it was it got pulled, but we didn't really provide any direction to the Fairgrounds to tell them that, hey, you have to pay for this or not. So we need to be able to give direction to them to pay for security, right? So, Governor Ross.
So we're talking about the two other events that are coming up.
Well, we're mainly,
I think right now
On the
the first,
17th, are they providing alcohol there? I mean,
Rebecca, they
business
have
after
alcohol at
hours.
that event?
There is alcohol at the March 17th event. There's tokens provided to the registered attendees, and then I believe the public can purchase alcohol. But mainly we're just looking for, I guess, a direction on where to go for this particular event, and then addressing the other events at a later date.
yeah, and currently it's a policy. So it would be,
Is it a policy?
Well, and I think at this point, it's a little too late to do anything about this event. I think future events, we probably need to have some direction. Sure.
Right. So the request was to waive security, but what we're saying is we're not gonna waive security. And
we're gonna follow policy.
Yeah, we're gonna follow, so, and I don't know if it's policy or not, I'm not.
Isn't even a policy, number one, isn't a
Okay,
policy
Becca,
for
do you
me,
know if it's a
because
policy?
I don't think it is.
Because we were.
Is it a written policy? No, it's not a written policy.
Okay, so we have been charging people. And we don't have a policy.
It's a policy for our interim events, for people who are renting our facility to have 2 guards per 200 people. So the amount of guards goes up. if there is alcohol at the event. Yes,
So this is an internal fairgrounds policy, not a
correct,
county policy
correct.
for the fairgrounds policy.
And it's written and recorded.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Have it written. It's not just
It's not-
between the staff policy. It's actually a written policy.
It's written, yes, I don't have the contract in front of me, but yes, there is information on it in the contract.
Right, and everybody that goes to rent a building gets that same contract.
Yes,
They can read it and see what's required. So there should
yes,
be no question at all.
yep.
Pretty simple.
Okay. Sounds like we have direction.
That's the policy. I think that we stay with the policy.
You good, Becca?
So we'll need security for this event.
Correct.
Okay. Yep, we're clear.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. You want to continue with your updates? Do you think my PowerPoint's going to take about 5 minutes?
Okay, I'll be quick about it. The first thing I want to touch is that last week, Emily and Carrie and I met with Mandy to work on the 2025 financial reconciliation reports for the Commissioner's Office funds.
Thanks, Brandon.
Coming out of that, just a couple things to note. We did not make very much progress. There was an error with revenues in September. So we are unable to reconcile any revenue reports from September through December until that error is fixed. Mandy expects that it'll be fixed within the next week. So we are looking at scheduling a follow-up meeting with her after those have been corrected so we can review the revenue reports for
September to December, is that what you said?
2025, yep. Project codes for the SIP grants had not been created when they were originally requested, so Mandy created them during the meeting. She moved the incorrect revenues to the appropriate lines, and she says that she will be moving the expenditures later, but we did not get a solid date on when that would happen. So it's on our list of things to follow up on when we have our next meeting. Something to note is that accounting was asking us how we would like things to be coded for fund lines. I had asked her about accounting's direction, but it seems that accounting would like the departments to choose how these things are coded. And I wanted that noted in case it is noticed that codes are not created consistently, since each office and department has the ability to choose themselves how things should be coded. Payroll reallocations from April through the end of the year were not done. When I asked Mandy about it during the meeting, she had said that she was ignoring emails that had reallocation in the subject line because typically somebody else handled that. She'll be working to get that fixed this week. That is another thing that we will be double checking when we have our follow-up meeting soon. The project codes for vet services are still not created. So you guys know you have VA Direct that is typically coded separately, so Tony can track it for reporting purposes. We ran out of time to review the vet's budget further. Another thing to note is at the end of the meeting, we had asked her if she could send us the expenditure reports so we could review them on our own and have a bit more productive of a meeting next time. And they actually did not have any of those reports ready for us to review. So we're a little unsure how we were expected to reconcile during that meeting since the reports had not yet been created, but she has emailed them to us since then. I believe she sent it on Thursday or Friday of last week. So we'll be going through those this week and scheduling another meeting with Mandy to follow up. We also have a bunch of payments that were made from wrong account lines because the codes were not yet created. So.
But you guys are, you email the codes to them to be created,
Yes,
but they don't create them?
correct.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, is it because the position is not there yet? It was vacated?
Why have a
he's been
reconciliation
This has
meeting
been
then?
going on since before the beginning of the year, so, and before so we're just, the point is just, we're trying to work on our budgets, these are the difficulties that we're having.
What are you reconciling though if you haven't done the work yet? You have a reconciliation meeting to just chat about what you should have been done already? That's weird.
Just
Why not just cancel the meeting?
trying to reconcile your monthly budgets,
Yeah, but if accounting hasn't done any of the work, what do you reconcile to?
Well, exactly, but we didn't, so.
I know, but they know that.
Yeah.
So like,
But
why
we
do you
don't.
even have the meeting?
Well, when we ask for the meeting, we don't know that, so.
Just be like, we're not prepared yet, maybe, instead of wasting, 4 staff people's time.
Yeah.
So you waste what, $300 an hour? How long was your meeting?
2 hours.
Oh, so $600 for what?
But we don't know that they're not ready.
I know, I'm just,
They should be communicating that before the meeting happens.
watching them work during budget probably cost 300 grand.
So I've only got a few minutes left. As a matter of fact, I might just wait until, I might have you hold off on that PowerPoint until the work set. Well, you guys have got a work session tomorrow, right? During consent?
In the morning,
No.
the consent agenda review work session.
Yeah, I might do it during the work session. So,
From 9 to 9:30.
yeah, that's fine. Cause I'm gonna run out of time.
Got a work session this morning from 11:30 to 12 as well.
I can do it at 11:30 to 12. So I have a PowerPoint, right? So National Association of Counties has got a We Are Counties initiative that we're going to take part in. It's a social media campaign, and I've got it completely built, ready to go, but I wanted to show the commissioners before it launches because it's definitely audience participation. It will be going over it at the CAB meeting this week because there's going to be an expectation as the public starts to chime in that department heads answer the questions that come up and interact with the local.
I think you have me on the CAB meeting for this week, and I'll be in Quincy.
I think Cindy's so I've sent you a schedule
Yes.
for the rest of the
Okay,
year.
I don't have it on mine because I will actually be at my area aging at 1:30, so.
If Rob is available, then that would be great, but I did send a schedule for the rest of the year to Caitlin, so she has that, and she'll
Okay,
get it
yeah,
plugged into your
It
calendar.
just says county CAB meeting. It does
Yeah.
not have my name on it, so I
I'm
didn't
sorry,
know.
yeah,
I can be there.
that would be awesome.
Thanks, Rob.
So I did go to the GTA terminal in Ephrata here for their public outreach. We're gonna leave they're gonna leave their storyboards up for the Ephrata Ford meeting later this week. Nobody from Ephrata Ford was there, which was too bad. And nobody from the city of Ephrata was there, which is really too bad.
Wow.
Because a lot of it has to do with, what you want to do with this building in downtown Ephrata.
And that's-
So,
That's on Thursday, isn't it?
yeah, so
So I'll stop
I
there.
spoke with Ray Towery about it briefly. He's aware, so he's gonna be there at the Ephrata Ford meeting this week, and we'll talk about, I'll give him what my impressions were. GTA is trying to figure out the best use of that building other than just a bus stop, right? They're talking about having a community center, an after-school place for kids. They've got a lot of ideas. So they're looking for input. I think it'd be really important for the city to be there and do that.
Are you going to that Friday Ford meeting?
I am,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'll
I'm gonna be late, so I have a standing NACO meeting that goes from 11 to 12, and that meeting starts at 11:30, so it's hard for me, I'm gonna be a half hour late. I've expressed that to the organizers of the meeting, and I haven't gotten any kind of a reply that,
Yeah, so I'll only be there till probably.
Yeah.
12:30, because then I got a thing in Quincy to go to.
I wish it weren't a 2-hour meeting,
So
That's really hard.
2.5.
or 2.5. Yeah, it's really hard to find a 2.5-hour block out of any day of the week to,
I agree.
So, that's tough. I'll talk about that at the meeting this week, so.
Do they have 2.5 hours of information?
I haven't been going,
Oh.
so,
Some days it carries over. I mean,
yeah,
depends on who's there and how many people are speaking.
yeah. I have been asked to participate by a number of people. Dr. Bresney reached out and name dropped me specifically, and then Ray Towery contacted me and asked me specifically if I would be there, so. So later on today, we'll talk about, the social media campaign for We Are Counties, and what that is. And then I'll probably set up another meeting. We need to talk about the use of AI across our networks and what we're gonna do with it. I think at a minimum, I think we need to do a formal training at the next department head elected official luncheon. Joe doesn't have the ability to lock down those websites. I kind of wish he did, because I would probably instruct him to lock down any AI website like ChatGPT or Perplexity or Grok or any of them, because it's apparent that people don't recognize what happens to the data they put in there, whether it's benign or not, what's happening with that data, where it's going, and what you're exposing the county to until some formal training gets done. So it's a great tool. It's awesome to use. You just have to understand what it is that you're using and the risks involved. So
We have a training module we're approving today. Propel, just a minute, no. Would that be a training, would a training module be in that, item number 10, flexible? And maybe that's if we want to use AI,
If they don't have one, we can put a training in there.
put it in there if they're gonna use
Yeah.
it. And I think that's what we could get on top of quickly.
Well, and I think from a risk standpoint, we have to have some data governance in place when it comes to AI, and we have to train that to our employees and elected officials, department heads. They have to understand what they can and can't do with AI and how it gets them in trouble. So that's what I've got for you today. I didn't get to everything on my list, but I got to 90% of it, and it's 9:30. Any questions for me? Okay, we'll follow up on the incident stuff. We'll get that stuff taken care of, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good. 9:29, we'll go into recess until 9:30. Here. Good morning.
Good morning.
9:32, we're here for a public works update. Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Morning. I'd like to start with our accomplishments.
So last week, they've been hitting it pretty hard with grading. They did 911 past miles of grading, as well as rock raking, another 350 miles of rock raking. That time of year, getting out there, getting all those washboards done. So also doing 683 tons of gravel replacement in all other areas too. We also did some bridge inspections, and they're starting their street cleaning. So we're out there sweeping the winter sand that we did put on the road. Hopefully we'll get them off and we'll get started on our crack filling here soon and our spring stuff. They are still working on Drumheller. We did about 160 hours on Drumheller. It's come along really well out there. So, besides that, yeah.
When you start crack filling, is it possible to talk to Kevin Schmidt and maybe coordinate some crack filling in our parking lots?
Yeah, we've done that in the past. We did some of the sheriff's department on Moses Lake. We did. So, just let them know. Just let them get a hold of me in. Yep.
We meet
Give a
with
bid.
Kevin on Wednesdays at 3 o'clock, Kevin and Abel, so we can talk about it
Yeah,
then.
if you can bring it up, that'd be
Yep.
great. Because I know we have some crack filling we need to do, so.
Okay, yep. They did, I believe they finished the jail for you. I haven't been out there looking. I was gone last week, so.
Everybody says it looks awesome.
Okay,
so
good.
thank
Glad to hear.
you. And that was a good savings, right? That was a good $12,000 or $13,000 less than what Salmon was going to charge us. So thank you.
Yep. Yep, so that.
So what you had?
Yep.
Solid Waste last week received 2,414 tons of garbage. The litter crew brought in 1.08 tons. They walked 5.5 miles of roadside. They did 8 illegal dumps and brought in 13 tires. Any questions on that?
You still liking the litter crew?
Yes. I think it's really helping.
Yeah, I think it's big for, as far as our complaints.
And the other thing, all of our road foremans are, they now will send pins of when they find an illegal dump. And so the other thing is the litter crew's not driving around looking for them. They drive right to them. I don't think they're there for a week anymore and they're gone. So,
You have a consent item this week?
yes,
You want to talk about that a little bit?
for the rock rake teeth.
And for Able put in a consent.
Okay. No, that was on Central Services one. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, that's okay.
That is for, phase 4 is set up, that's the new construction at Solid Waste, the newest cell. It's set up in 3 different sections. In those 3 sections, we can, if we start filling one, we close valves and we send the water over for leachate. Until then, it's treated as stormwater. So we have been running a generator all winter long to keep pumping that water out. What Abel's gonna have on consent is to install a temporary power pedestal. We need to finish this year. The other thing, we don't think the 3rd cell, we don't think we'll have any trash in it this year. So that will be being treated as stormwater all winter again next year. So that's the Central Services consent item for solid waste, is to install that power. It's,
So you can run a pump.
So it must be
Yeah,
next week, so I
generator.
don't see it on this week.
I think you got put as public works.
That's under public works.
But
So that'll
Able-
be the 50A sub panel.
Yes,
Okay.
50 amp sub panel, yeah. So that's the first time Abel's written something for consent, so he was asking lots of questions. And I did ask him to be online in case the commissioners had any questions about that, so he should be online, so. Anyway, as he continues to grow and learn about this stuff.
well, Abel's,
You know, work today.
he's
though.
doing a great job.
No, he's Tuesday, Friday, so
Yeah, Abel's doing a great job.
Yeah,
he'll be here tomorrow.
yeah, he's done real good.
But that's what it's for, and it, part of it was the strike, we've had some problems with with ecology to get our final permit to put refuse in it. I don't know, it's just taken longer than we thought. We're still not using it, so the entire thing is being pumped out as stormwater. And it's, because it's so late, in the 3rd section that we're not gonna put trash in is the largest. So it'll be running all next winter as well.
So what's their holdup? They give you a reason or?
No, there was some questions on the leachate, and then so we had to go back and forth on whether we needed to change our operating permit, and then they determined we didn't, and it's just taking longer than anticipated. So I think we're close, but I keep thinking that every week. So we met with Ecology twice last week.
Are they coming out here or you just meet with them on Zoom?
Just no online, and it's, then it was a question of, do we need an updated SEPA and just all this, yeah. We didn't, but that took another 3 days to deter, it's just been one little thing after another. So I hate to say we're close because I keep thinking that, but so is there any other questions on that?
Not on that. So I had a conversation with Rob Carlinzi, the city of Moses Lake. We discussed the ILA about the support that they want to be the lead agency on a bridge project. So we scheduled a working session with the commissioners. I think he'll get an invite too.
Okay.
He's going to change that ILA. I expressed the concerns about how that ILA was written and the bridge itself when we're not really at the point where we're talking about a bridge. He's rewriting the ILA so that it's expressly about the environmental impact statement, which is what they're going to Washington DC and asking money for, so they need the support for that so that they can lay down the groundwork. So he's going to change that a bit.
Okay.
And then, I told him Public Works concerns about having to maintain, a bridge over the lake, and, that had to be discussed. So just a lot of logistics there to work out. So, and that's what that's going to be about.
Okay.
So that's coming up.
Okay. Do you have a time for that or not yet?
I think it was March, I'm sorry, March 30th, working lunch, yeah.
Other from noon to 1:30.
So, and that's with the commissioners and with Rob Carlinzy, city administrator, and a number of city council members.
Okay.
Just to talk about that IOA, what they're planning.
Where they plan on meeting, where we plan on meeting at?
Here.
Here.
They're gonna come.
Well, we had a good discussion, John and I, with Corey, I apologize, can't remember his last name, one of their planners, about the difference in the road standards and things like that. It was a really good conversation.
So we
So,
might talk about the coroner's office as well. It's a working lunch, right? Let's talk about the ILA, but it's an opportunity to sit down with city council from Moses Lake, right? So let's, let's talk about whatever we want to talk about. Could be anything. You can just, an update as to what their big plans are, what we're doing, how we can work together.
yeah. Our next topic is the event application process. And we included an example that Catherine Bren came up with a couple of years ago, but it was never adopted by the board. And if you look at it, you can see that it affects pretty much all the departments. There's the sheriffs, the fire marshal, and it would make it so that everybody is made aware that there's an event going on and give them an opportunity to chime in if they have any concerns. Fire and safety protection, public health, environmental health, law enforcement. It's a questionnaire, public roads, garbage and recycling, bond of indemnity. And we're getting more and more of these events. We have bicycle events. We had, in the last 8 months, we probably had 2 either movies or TV shows that have filmed scenes in Grant County or portions of it. We have Ford commercials being made down by Crescent Bar. It seems to be getting more and more. So this is a way to verify with all the departments that they don't have any concerns or that they do, and also verify the insurance information. We've been using like work in right-of-way permits, things that we have, but those aren't really what we need. So this gives you a chance to look at that. It was modeled after Kittitas counties, the event permit that they use. So if you after you get a chance to look at it, if you have any questions or comments or want to use something else, it's fine. But it's something that I think we need to do because we seem to be getting more and more of these. Any questions on that right now? I know it's quite a bit to read, so
Yeah, I read a little bit last week, but yeah, I think it's a good idea.
and I want you to review it and see what you think, because it is something that needs to be approved by you guys, so, because it affects more than just public works so. Maybe I'll leave it as a discussion topic for our next meeting.
When does our new engineer start?
So our engineer officially starts April 13th. Next week, you're gonna have a resolution that will designate him the county engineer on April 13th. And the reason I need to do that so early is WAC 136-12-045. When final arrangements for the employment of a new county engineer have been made, the county legislative authority or the county executive shall, within 5 business days, notify CRAB in writing and shall include the following information. So I think the last hurdle was crossed on Thursday. And then I talked to him and everything's good. So I have most of this information. I'm trying to get his county email. And so I need to make this notification to CRAB. I can't get the resolution done in 5 days, but I can let CRAB know that it'll be before you next week.
It says the legislative body or the executive, so that could just be letterhead from me?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have to worry about the timing of consent?
No, but I still need a copy of the appointment resolution and a letter of appointment. So I was gonna get the rest of the information to CRAB today or tomorrow,
Okay.
and then tell them that the appointment will be on consent for next Tuesday. So, but I know it seems a little early, but it's a requirement that we have.
We'll do, okay, I'm just wondering if you need to walk on today, if you
So-
need.
No, I don't think that's
you know, when you get
necessary.
in trouble with the state.
You've got a copy of a previous resolution?
Yep. Yep.
So you'll have it already done?
Yep. And I talked to Caitlin, Victoria's gonna do a rough draft, something that she can look at and put the finishing touches on it, so it should be fine. And I don't know if I'm gonna have his email. I didn't request anything. You know, he had background check and reference checks and UAs and all this stuff that we had to get done until I thought it was final arrangements were completed, so. And I did let Derek know that, so I've been in contact with him, and so I'll have the rest of it probably today, maybe not the email address, but. And they knew, so I had him sign up for county engineer training in May. And it's only open to county engineers, well, I didn't have a Grant County email. So Crab called me, I verified that yes, he is the one that we are probably gonna hire. I mean, all this stuff has to fall into place, but, so he was able to get signed up that, so they knew his name, they knew he hired somebody, things like that already.
Have you done the network activation form? With
Yep, did that on Thursday.
Email address is pretty quick, so they should be able to get that.
And it's, like I say, I think the big things are gonna be, his name, they wanna know, of course, his, PE registration number, things like that. And, I mean, it's not reasonable, but to have an appointment done in 5 days. I mean, it fell Thursday afternoon, well, consent was already closed, but it'll be fine, I think. So, next one is West Shore, that starts back up this week. Hopefully, potentially be done by the end of the month. We'll see. Adams Road overpass. We don't have a lot of information on that as of yet. We were told that there was approximately a 3-foot piece of bridge deck that came out of it. So, we don't know if it's gonna be just like Hanson Road or what exactly is going on yet. James is gonna talk about some changes we're gonna make, especially at Hanson Road and now potentially Adams Road, depending on what the state finds.
So just happens to be, that's our chip seal area. South and North Frontage Road through there, all the way from Moses Lake city limits to what they call Murphy's Corner is all on the chip seal. So we are actually gonna postpone that a year through those frontage roads due to all the traffic that's gonna be on there, as well as, you know, not make any more, more enemies, I guess, because they're already mad at it.
Right.
So we're just gonna postpone it a year. We'll see what happens with the Adams Road one, but most likely it'll be just wait till the following year. We'll just chip seal it. The most of it's already been crack filled, stuff like that. It was just the chip seal part.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't be happy about us doing that.
Yeah,
There'd be, I mean,
yeah.
they don't drive 35. We'd
No.
have lots of broken windshields. It would be, I just don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I think our phones would be ringing off the hook.
Yeah, yep.
Had they set a time?
But I know of the Hanson one was supposed to be what, December of this year is supposed to be done.
Yeah.
So Adams Road, we haven't heard anything. I've also heard other comments of Hiawatha was next too. So
Good,
yeah, so we don't know.
we will have a.
We'll have no way to get on the other side.
Divided.
Those frontage roads are gonna be really busy.
Yeah. So
Mm.
we'll just plan on postponing it for a year.
Yeah, I don't think the juice isn't worth the squeeze if Adam ends up being closed for any length of time. So, we do have our, Ryan, our sheriff's deputy, we've asked him to patrol those areas, make a presence at least once or twice a day. Try to keep people going reasonably close to the speed limit. So we'll just see what happens. If we don't have any more information on Adams by the end of the week, our bridge supervisor, Tim Massey, has a pretty good contact with one of the WashDOT maintenance guys that's in this area. So we'll hit him up and see if we can find anything else out. But right now, the only information we have was it was about a 3-foot chunk. So doesn't sound good.
No. Speaking of your officer, what road was that? It was out by Dune Lake that we had. Data Hill Road.
Yeah, I was gonna enjoy it.
I'm not sure if I sent an email. Yeah, because apparently there's a lot of speeders out in that neck of the woods.
Okay. You want to talk to Ryan about that?
Dave Hill,
So
with that.
what we did doesn't seem to have helped.
Well, depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
What are
There's always
the,
gonna be one guy that's gonna pass some person and they're gonna be mad because they got passed. I mean, we can't control people that are gonna speed. I mean, it's just,
We'll do another speed study and see what the 85th percentile did, and that will tell us if it actually helped or not.
I don't know if somebody was in or was sent an email. This is what happened.
I had a deputy tell me yesterday, it's not illegal to speed, it's not a crime, I just have to be willing to pay what it costs to go as fast as I wanna go. That's what the deputy told me yesterday, so.
That's one way to look at it, I guess.
How bad do I need to get there? The last thing I had that was not on our list, the multi-phase extraction needed to be, the opening date was supposed to be today. We needed to push that. I think it's actually next Tuesday. There was our consultant, her quote was there was a ton of questions that came in writing the day before the submission deadline. And so the addendum, it took a day and a half to write, and it didn't seem fair to throw that out there with only a few days left. So we pushed it back by a week. I notified our site manager from ecology. She thought it was a good idea as well, but better to get it right. And so anyway, that got pushed off. I believe it's the 17th now for the bid opening. That's all we had. Is there any questions?
Yes, Tom, you were gonna talk to. I did call Tom about setting up a meeting with Tomer Construction about the
Yes.
landfill. I don't know if you
About
reached
what?
out to
Yes, I had not had, thank you for the reminder, I apologize.
Tomer Construction.
Yeah, and that, we could probably, I'll call him, see if he's available tomorrow at 2:00 as well, if you want.
I was gonna say, since we're on that discussion, the Bureau's coming over on tomorrow at 2. I've got a list of properties that Grant County owns. Maybe we can go over that list. I'll figure out which properties, maybe we can do a
But
trade.
Tomer would like to talk to us about one of his properties as well, so,
Okay.
yeah. So we need to get a hold of him. Yeah, and we might be able to do that even sometime today, if he's available, so.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that reminder.
Hey, anytime, I'm gonna check it off.
Anybody have anything else?
This isn't really public works related, but it could be involved in. Went to the stakeholders meeting for the George last week. I think Kevin was on. The city of George does not want to be the entity that handles the waste, like the solid waste. They're looking for the gorge, the new developments down by Live Nations. Just gotta take a large municipal waste water facility, create something. Live Nations, it's just, there's no grant funding, and it would be more than Live Nations anyway. So they just want a stakeholders meeting. Since the city of George is kind of like, we're out. I think if they move forward with it, each resident would be responsible for $500 a month. Their fee, and it's like, if everybody steps back or nobody steps forward, this is what, we're not gonna put it on our residents. So I told them I would set up a meeting so we could start looking at more of a countywide So I've got their email addresses, if maybe we can set something up.
500 per month?
Yeah,
Well, that was one of the city of Georgia's concerns. It won't be, what if Live Nation leaves or then they're stuck with this?
And they don't
That's-
need it.
Yeah, that's gonna be way too large for just their needs, and I think that's what
well,
they,
even Osborne was,
Brian Osborne?
yes. They said they needed like a 40-acre, if they did a septic, 30-acre
Drainfield.
open lagoon, or so it would take that many acres, and I'm like, there is absolutely no way that a lagoon needs to be that big, because if it's so small, I mean, you're gonna have evaporation before you have, that they have to build it, to the capacity of the largest day, times 6 months, where I'm like 20, 30 acres. Just seems excessive.
Did they say
for
how
what-
many millions of gallons that lagoon needed to be?
There's probably information she had, but I just thought, we have our Grant County Fairgrounds, it was pretty large, but there was no way it was on.
The one at the fairgrounds was less than 1 million. City of Deer Parks is, we have two at 1.2 million. So, but they don't, I mean,
Well, I
They're
don't
not
think
even
Department
on-
of Ecology allows for open.
these are open, but they're not
Oh,
even,
good.
they're not even on a full acre, I guess is what I'm.
Oh,
what I'm
I just
getting
thought,
at.
this is excessive.
Yeah.
What's the population of Deer Park?
Yeah. Oh, it's small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long is gorge you're gonna estimate with the resort and those
Well,
days
28,000
that-
people times 6 months every day if they were gonna use it, but you
That's gonna be
also
more than cities.
Yeah.
have to take into
No, I get that. I
account
was just surprised at that 40-acre size.
that it will be weeks and weeks that it's not getting used, so you've got,
Sounds like a small investment from Live Nation is needed.
Well, not only just Live Nation, but you have the Bryans next door that are doing.
we have a lot of
that
other
are doing
developments that are
some
coming,
things that
yeah.
Could benefit from it as well, so.
Yes, but the main creator of the waste today is
Live Nation,
Mhm.
absolutely.
$50 million. Should it come from taxpayers of the county or this little city that has no residents?
If it was a district, then it would be paid by the users of that district.
because what is, how many citizens live in George? Is it even 500?
Yeah, I was gonna say less than 1,000 probably.
That's why it'd be such a big hit if Live Nation walked away or.
Well, they're also pumping it up a hill. Bart, I think 10 million was pumping it, and then it's a long way for it. Morning, Michelle.
Trevor,
Michelle.
Trevor's
Good
gonna
morning.
drive my vehicle.
It is 10 o'clock, we're here for the auditor's office update.
The only thing I have that's at the top of the list that we're working on right now is that we've discovered that in September, a one-sided entry got posted into GP, which should never happen. Something went wrong with the posting, whatever, and ended up being a one-sided, and it shouldn't have been done. So we're having our guys from Ben are gonna write an SQL to remove it. And then we're hoping that we can get everything balanced for September. September just seems to be our month that just, things did not work. That's what we're in the process of having done right now. And I haven't seen an email today from Phil. So hopefully he gets back to us today and they have the SQL written to remove our problem. And then we can go back in and fix what failed in September and move forward. And in between now is we're running through and we're checking to see if there's anything else out after September, out of balance with all of our funds. So that's what we're currently working on. That's all I got. Unless there's something else.
I received so we emailed, because Keith was on that call, we heard about that, and then I asked Keith, do you know anything about this? Is there anything GCTS needs to do? And he emailed Phil And I can read you Phil's response. I don't know if it'll make sense or not. This was last Thursday. He said, I just started looking into this yesterday. Somehow they managed to post an unbalanced JE. Still not sure how it happened, but since it's unbalanced, the normal GP tools to reverse the entry will not work. There were multiple attempts to create correcting entries, but it just kind of made it worse. At this point, the best option is to go in and manually delete those journal entries, reconcile balances, and then enter the correct amounts. Here's what I believe the steps will need to be, but need to test these first. And then he had back up the company database, make a backup table, the general ledger, which stores posted journal entries for open years. Run a delete statement to remove the journal entry, update the GL summary tools, or summary tables within GP, Microsoft Dynamics, GP tools, utilities, financial reconcile, then reconcile the year and enter and post a GL entry to replace the unbalanced transaction. Make a note on the reference field of the entry. Let me know if you have any more questions about this, to which me and Keith were like, that seems like a whole lot to have to do. So,
Well,
I hope,
it is, and that's the problem is
he
that
was hoping to have something to
we
us
couldn't
this
figure
week.
out what was happening because those did get reversed out and then it didn't fix it. And so we tried to re-enter it and then it didn't work. So then it was backed out again. So, you know, it was because this one-sided entry occurred that didn't back out correctly. We couldn't back it out. That's the problem. So, I mean, that is the underlying problem, is the one entry created a snowball effect of trying to fix it, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So if they can get that done, and that's kind of what we're doing, we're going through all the funds to see if there's anything else that is out of sequence that we can find. But I had taken one of the smaller funds and I was like, started looking at it and I'm like, okay, I can see where these are all backed out. All the back out here matches. Then I look at the cash. I go, well, the cash didn't back out. How did a one-sided entry even occur? It's not supposed to happen. So we have issues with GP. So that's why we're trying to replace it. It has these little quirks that it's been happening, especially when we updated to the new version or whatever we had to do. It's really created an issue. Sometimes I'll go through, every time I get into it and go out of it, I get all of these little messages saying there's something wrong. Sometimes I get them and then I can't even get into anything. I have to go completely out again and then go back in it again and start over.
Well, and they're not even,
There's no really support for it.
there's no support anymore. So.
No, so we're like gimping along, trying to fix everything that comes up, but that one's kind of that's a major one, because I'm like, well, how did that happen? I don't even know how that happens, because it's just not supposed to. If it's out of balance, it should never have posted anything, but it did. So. And it does sound like a fun process to fix it, so. But that's all I got. Any other questions?
Anybody else have any questions for Michelle?
No
We're
question.
not
Okay.
gonna get the text.
And we'll go back and continue.
The only thing I have, so Baker Tilly, that external audit, they've reached out, they've done some interviews with some of the department heads. They're gonna be wanting to schedule some interviews. It's just by teams with, I'm assuming, the accounting staff. So those emails should probably come out pretty soon. I'm not sure what all they're asking, what they're doing, but just in case they get that email, so they know it's coming.
You know what? We have the state going on too, and they had mentioned something about doing
So far, I haven't.
something, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's probably the state that has
Yeah,
contacted.
yeah,
them.
because they haven't.
So, okay.
They've been copying me on the requests to other people, and they haven't reached out to anybody.
Oh, okay, so it's the state that's reached out to them. Because
Any
they're doing
idea
the
how
same thing.
Any idea how the state audit is going? It seemed like, I know they asked about the jail project, and I gave them a ton of documentation, so.
It's going, we'll know, I guess.
No, I just didn't know if you'd heard anything.
No, I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
Not yet.
I'm so used to them being camped out in an office, and they haven't been here at all, really, so.
Yeah. Well, since they can do so much of it online, yeah, they're probably not gonna be here as much, which is less cost for us too, so they don't have to travel here. Should help a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna go back and
We'll go on recess
continue.
until 10:15.
Ready?
Good morning, it's 10:15. We're here with the treasurer's office update. Mark Darrell.
All right, howdy. Our new employee just started this morning.
Yeah,
Yes.
she stopped by this morning.
Yep, they went around and introduced her to the departments that we deal with. In fact, and so she even met Melissa. So she was here this morning. So then we are printing. Well, we are in the queue for printing. We gave approval last Friday. We don't know where, if it's going to be Arizona, Washington, or the third location for Master's Touch, of where the queue opens, where the next place that's open for printing. And then, of course, if it's printed in Arizona like last year, then we have the slightly longer mail delay to get here. So to try to time our notice, media notice, news release. So, which means we're telling people next week, and it could be quite earlier, of which then our office immediately changes in a different mode of volume for a lot of phone calls. So phone calls, payments, online payments are happening already before anyone knows about them. So people have been looking to see if we're available. We also, I made a determination, we will also be soon after, when we're prepared, to put our tax statements, put a link on our website on the treasurer's page for the 2026 statements that were created. We have tax services and mortgage companies that can constantly want copies of tax statements emailed to them. And then they want information. And a lot of these tax services have a lot of a foreign dialect to them. And we're refusing to answer. We're telling them, you have our website. You have these statements available to you. You have all the information you need. So the questions you ask are always what we already have. So you need to start using what the services we provide. And for us to stop spending so much time with you trying to figure out what you want. And I'm just not happy with tax service companies who shipped off their call centers out to places.
It's just like all the construction companies, the bidding companies out there that you pay a membership to. I'll get calls from somebody in Ohio saying, who did you select for the general contractor on your mortgage? It's like, well, we selected this company. It was a matter of public record. You can do a public records request. Well, we're trying to let our customers know. You're in Ohio. I don't care what you're trying to do with your customers. So I probably get 10 or 12 of those a week easily from these Construction Connect and Construction Administration, this or that. None of them are from Washington State.
Interest rates jumped up. Actually bought something the 11th or Thursday. That is a 401 with a 450 yield to the call. Interest rate jumped up a little bit more. I haven't found what, if I waited 2 days longer, what it would have been. It's just, that's the problem, is you never know what the market's going to do. But I know when it's low and don't even waste time. And then it just keeps having cycles that go up and down, and just wait for the ups. And if we need to buy anything, we have one of our investments maturing this month. That is 0.68 or something like that, 10 million. And then we have something in April, middle of April, and then beginning of May of all these small interest rate items that will get it. The state pool is still around 370, possibly go up a little bit because short-term interest rates are going up as well.
So as these things mature, does that directly impact our revenues as a county?
Well, when they mature, where they're spending it, that we needed to pay warrants, or putting in the state pool, or if timing is right, investing something new. So the money is always being invested or is needed to pay warrants. And so this one, our maturities aren't connecting, but I don't want to wait later. I want to take some of the state pool monies at 370 and get a 450 yield instead. So Carrie and I keep talking about all these different strategies. I keep telling her on every purchase, telling her all the reasons. And then she'll decide if you appoint her. If that's, actually, she likes the strategies.
So she's all up on that stuff.
Yeah, oh, yes. Yeah, it's just a matter of, my triggers are watching CNBC each morning, which tells me the treasury rates. I could go to Bloomberg, but I also like to have the conversation about the treasury rates for their point in the morning, in the hour that they talk about.
Well, and they're doing some speculation, right? So.
Well, they're talking about the actuals,
Yeah.
and they're talking about which direction it's going up right now at the point in time. And then they're talking about a lot of other things of what, which way the stock market's leaning and all stuff like that. So again, it's another down day.
So is that informing your decision on how we move investments around, or is there something?
No, that's, all that's doing right now is just triggering for me to look at emails. If the market's down, all these emails, don't even look at them. We get quite a volume of a lot of investment offers. And it's just, we don't have time to look at that. We don't deal with the volume. I had a broker who wanted to get in. The problem is if you only invest, we already have 2-3 brokers. And if you only do 18 transactions a year, what's another broker gonna give you?
It seems like a really small amount to have 2 or 3 brokers.
Right, I know, you're not making any of them happy.
Yeah.
So adding another one just makes everyone not want to work for you at all.
So Daryl, back to, you made a comment. Are you working on your transition plan? Because it seems like sounds as if you have some transition going on. And I'm hoping you're working on a transition plan.
Well, what area in transition plan you worry about? Because we've been doing a transition plan for years.
Okay, well, as long as you're ready for it.
That's why Carrie's been in charge of all these projects. Who's been all the new software projects, she's been one in charge of all the projects. So she's the one that knows all the different the software uses.
Caitlin, I think during your update today, you were going to bring up point and pay for public records officers.
Yes.
So I know that Emily's been having that discussion with you or Carrie about doing point and pay for public records.
Right.
It's a direction they wanted to go, and you didn't have any issues with that. She thought she
The
could just
only
piggyback on
problem
your
we
office.
have, well, when point and pay if point and pay takes the money, you have a file they create. So what we'd have is who's going to read that file? They deposit the money, you have the file, and then someone creates the transmittal. For us, it's applying the taxes. For them, it's doing a transmittal of the monies so point and pay is different than a regular credit card payment because point and pay does it in a total sense versus many different entries on the bank account.
Well, maybe I'm using the wrong term there. It was just,
It is point and pay. They do transmittals for payments anyways, so that wouldn't be.
But we prefer on a day-to-day basis versus an individual one. So if they just have one, then we get a report for one. But if you have 5 of them, then it's one payment for the 5 with the report for those 5. That's what we try to avoid is just having a whole bunch of individual credit card payments into our account.
as long as we can work that out so it's good for everybody, you don't have an issue with it.
Well, yeah, well, Carrie's been working with them on that.
Does the board have an issue with the public records officers allowing folks from the public to pay for their public records requests, instead of paying cash right now, which is what they do.
Oh, I'm fine, because most places take credit cards.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Okay, just to bring you all up to date, last week, we found more problems with PACs. We had to wait and get them fixed, and all this is on TIFs. We're still having a lot of problems with TIFs. We don't, hopefully the latest fix, but I also expressed my frustration with the other PAC treasurers and Harris government. They were aware of a problem on January 15th that they didn't tell us about on TIFs. They didn't tell Melissa about. So when we had this crazy thing happen, my employee was freaking out, wondering what she did wrong, and had to do all these research and all these things over again to see why this happened, when it had nothing to do with her. And when we sent it to Melissa, she didn't know why this was happening. She did her time. And then later, oh yeah, we have this problem, Clark County. And it's actually in a release this month. We also weren't told about the release yet.
Yeah,
It was-
Melissa wasn't told either.
It's going, and I chewed on the treasurers and going, why is it so hard for communication to happen? I talked to Clark County, I told them directly, I was not happy with you guys. Well, we thought Harris Governor was gonna tell you. Does anyone know that you can't trust Harris Governor with communications, getting them all? Yep, and yet we keep trusting them to do it and they don't do it. So we got a release happening, which has a whole bunch of other stuff in it. And then my question is when did we have a discussion of all these other changes to make sure we're all agreeing that this is something that's changed and that it's being changed the way we want it changed? We're also having no discussion on that as well without input.
Don't the treasurers get together every so often? Don't you guys have a yearly or a quarter? Do you guys do a quarterly thing?
Not on PACs. I forced a meeting 2 years ago to have a meeting to discuss this issue. We had the meeting, we talked about all the things we're gonna do, and then we didn't do any of them.
I can't help you with that.
I know, I'm just saying, I've never been so frustrated, not just with PACs, but with the Treasurer Association as well, of lack of communication. We also have a bunch of treasurers mad at our own ledge committee. They're just canceling meetings where we have no discussion of what's going on. We still have, I was told, that's still going on and is waiting for concurrent on the solar. The solar wind regarding property tax changes, taking it out of property tax and putting it into a excise tax methodology. That would be effective January 1st of 28. That still has a great chance of passing. We were not lucky to get in our amendment for the local tax rebate change. We didn't get much support from we didn't get much effort. I'm not saying the word support, effort to push that. From
Who was made aware of it? So I'm just gonna say that I tried to track a couple of hundred different bills and prioritizing them all. I mean, it's really difficult and we're all in, what I've discovered is we're all in these separate legislative action committees. I mean, the Washington State Association of County Administrators has one, they have one, our planner has one, the assessor has one, you have one. How often are we all communicating about our top three, top two? So, because we haven't done that, and that's something I've discovered this year that I want to change next year.
Because Waco said they were in discussions with the Commissioner Association about this bill, about our bill, because we ended up, the treasurers having to turn in a bill to fix this, which should have never been needed to be a treasurer's bill. It was a commissioner bill.
Were they talking about Wasac?
Yes. Waco said they made them aware of our bill and they were all in favor of it. Well, then if all in favor means phone calls, means follow-up. Yeah.
How often so the Treasurer's Legislative Action Committee, right? Do you go to their during the session, do you go to their meetings every week?
Yes.
How many treasurers are in that meeting?
We have a potential of 10.
A potential, but obviously.
Normally 6 or 7.
Normally 6 or 7. So I just happened to pop into the Commissioners Legislative Steering Committee this last
Well,
Thursday.
no, you got volume.
There was 10 people in the room.
For your numbers? Jeez.
It was pretty lightly attended. You know, I was kind of surprised. And, but that's not uncommon. I guess the point I'm trying to make is we're all tracking bills. We don't know what your priorities are on top of Jim's priorities or their priorities. I think next year, the next session, we have to figure out a way to have some kind of a legislative meeting where we bring the electeds together and say, so what is important to the clerk? What is important to the treasurer? What is important? So that if you do need that support, we can do a letter, we can do a test.
Okay, well, at Waco, at the Waco conference, they always approve the legislative agenda, get it in writing, and we're told it gets shared with the Commissioners Association. So they're aware of it. And so then, but I don't know if that happens.
But that share might just be a side note in a 40-minute meeting where something else is a hot topic, I guess is my point. You don't know what that means. So unless we're bringing it up internally and saying, hey, this is really important to us, then I wouldn't trust that, I guess is what I'm saying.
A lot of times I'll do the call to action. If I see a call to action, I'll get on it.
I brought one up this morning there's Mary Dye has got a request out for support for something and I wasn't even tracking that one until.
Is that
That's for the PILT, for the transmission lines.
Yeah.
Oh, again, that's a separate, or is that part of the 1960 or is that separate?
No, this is SB 6355, which creates the Washington Electric Transmission Authority. As currently drafted, the bill would allow the authority to build and own transmission infrastructure that is exempt from property taxes, potentially eliminating an important revenue source for counties and junior taxing districts that support schools, roads, and emergency services. So she had put forth a number of amendments, 3 different amendments, and is asking all of us, to support it. And I asked Alex this morning, hey, it's an exec session today. Can you let us know what the status is? Do I need to get this on letterhead, get commissioners to sign it? What? So he was going to let me know. But again, this is one out of hundreds that I wasn't even aware of.
So so they're saying a for-profit entity building transmission lines or a nonprofit building or both? Because the only other angle on a nonprofit.
I'll send that to you.
Yeah, nonprofit is there a PD privilege tax angle to it? So, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Daryl.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
And thanks for working on your transition plan.
Yeah, 32. Move on to school report update. Good morning.
You get me today. I'm good. How are you doing? Good.
Well, we're lucky we don't always get a judge, so.
I know. Yeah, I got there and it's just like, yes, Crystal's under the weather today. She's like, I don't think I need to go anywhere outside of my 4 walls. Would you mind? I'm like, no, I'm good. Yeah. So we don't really have a whole lot to report over in our land. We have our 3rd judge, obviously. She went through judicial college and she officially took the bench on the 17th. So she's had a couple of weeks on there, which has been nice having a 3rd body to help with all of the overflow that we had. So that's been good. That's kind of all that's really new.
I'm trying to think, I don't think we have anything for Superior Court.
No, we just have the Wade King thing on Friday,
This coming?
this coming Friday.
Yeah. I don't know. That's one's gonna be a lot happening on it.
Where is it? I thought they weren't.
It's a hearing for, regarding their constitutional right to a jury
Yeah,
trial.
I thought it was, what judge is hearing it?
It's a great question.
Okay.
Judge Richardson would not be hearing it because they
Recused
they
herself.
did the recusal and then
Okay,
and I think I don't know.
but
I
it
know
is
there,
here in Grant County, okay.
I
just-
know, yeah,
I
I
know
know
that-
that there was a DQ. That may mean that I'm the only one that can, but then I know they maybe withdrew their DQ, so I have no idea.
Probably a surprise.
But I will be in a criminal trial this week, so I don't know what that means for Friday's hearing. So,
Might get canceled.
yeah, again, kind of frustrating sometimes when we get the DQs and the forced recusals, just because it makes it problematic with everything else that's going on. Sometimes you think a fourth body might be a good idea around here, but we'd probably run into that same problem.
Same thing.
Yeah,
Probably run it up
Yeah.
to the 10.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah. Particularly when there's new faces that come on board, everybody is hesitant to bring anything in front of them for a bit till they get a feel for how they rule. But it is nice to have her here. So.
Good.
But yeah, that case is gonna
Good
be,
addition.
yeah, I think so. We'll see. See how it goes. It's early, yeah, she's,
Well, and she'll have to campaign this year too, right? It's,
yeah. Yeah,
It's gotta be tough.
so, yeah, I think,
would this be her election year? No. So it's a first available election and then she'll have to do it in 2 years. So she's got,
yes. So, yeah, and I have no idea what the landscape will look like. You know, you hear a bunch of rumblings and people thinking they know what people are going to do, and then at the end of the day, you never know.
Everybody's an expert.
Come May, it's kind of always like a surprise of what happens, so we'll see. You know, I think with district court having you know, a spot opening, an open seat,
oh, I didn't know they were gonna have an open seat. Who's stepping down?
Barlow.
Did not know that.
Yeah, he is counting down the days to retirement, so he is not running. So that seat will be open. We potentially might lose our commissioner in Superior Court, because I think he's wanting to maybe venture on over there, but, so we'll see. It's gonna be another, you know,
It'll be an interesting year.
another interesting year. Yes, it'll be nice when it
There will
finally
be a
settles
lot of
in and we
change
can
here,
like not
yeah.
have much change.
Oh, big
The right
campaign
time to
year.
leave, right?
Yeah, big campaign year.
I know. Yeah.
Somebody said, at least we'll have a lot of people in the parades.
You always know it's an election year,
I
right? When
know,
the
that's what
parades are
somebody made a
full.
comment, I'm like, that's true, yeah.
Yes.
We'll have a lot of entries in the parade.
Uh-huh. Yeah, lots of parade entries, but yeah, so that's all that's really happening. We're just
Okay.
glad to be fully functioning again. So we'll see. But yeah,
Anything for you
Mr. Jones over there is nice and quiet today.
for now?
Saving it up.
Saving it up.
For something special.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank
We don't
you.
have anything
Yeah, of
else? We're
course.
going to recess until
Perfect.
10:45.
You guys have a great week.
You too.
You're
Thanks
gonna
for
Good morning, it's 10:45 and we are here for our commissioner work session.
All right.
Who's going first?
Yeah, so I'll go first. So I was gonna bring this up during my update, earlier today. I just touched upon it, but I'll get through this pretty quick. It's a short session or a short slide deck. I know Caitlin's got a lot to bring up. So National Association of Counties has a major initiative, called We Are Counties, that they really want counties to be telling their stories, especially to their local communities. I'm planning on participating in that, and I wanted to show this and kind of brief the commissioners. This will reach out and touch every one of your districts. So before these, it's a social media campaign that goes about 30 weeks. Each week, there's a new post on Facebook that discusses why county government is important and impactful in everybody's daily lives. But it's not just, what the counties are. A lot of this has got my own flavor to it. So we're taking part in it. NACO's going to promote it. We're promoting it. Go ahead and go to the next slide. But what it is it's their 3-year, $3.5 million public affairs campaign to educate policymakers, the public, about county government. Our local angle, what my vision of it was, a connected community showing how collaboration between counties, cities, ports, school districts, and partners build public trust. We want to instill the trust in our citizenry that, their elected officials are doing what's best for them, which I believe we are. The campaign targets 3 different audiences: federal, state policymakers. Again, NACO's promoting this, so they'll talk about highlights to our federal partners, the general public, building trust and awareness, and of course, all of our employees, so they can see what they're taking part in. The campaign at a glance is 30 total posts over 30 weeks. There's 7 different monthly themes. We've got graphics that are ready, and we can go ahead and expand on those. Go ahead. And what is the challenge? That the residents often don't know which level of government provides their services. County government's breadth and complexity is not fully understood. Trust in government is built through transparency and visible collaboration. And we've got 40+ intergovernmental partnerships that most people don't even know about. So we want to show the public, how the county, cities, ports, and schools work together. We want to build trust through that consistent, transparent storytelling. We're aligning with the national campaign from NACO, and we want to position our county as a model for collaboration, which I think we are, and we work very hard at. So the monthly themes are service spotlights. There will be 10 posts beginning on roads, elections, courts, health, records, and budget. And I'm going to talk about this, and this will go out to all elected officials so they know, because all of these posts, and you'll see them before they actually get posted, invite members of the public to comment. So when I do this at the CAB meeting this week, there's the expectation that, hey, there might be questions that come up for Jim, and I'll want you to answer those, engage. There's 8 posts on collaboration stories, MAC 911, the Board of Mayors, multi-county initiatives that are going on, and conservation. Did you know facts? There's 5 posts about the National Association of County Stats paired with Grant County data. And then there's 7 seasonal and community posts about holidays, back to school, strategic plans, and just kind of closing it all out. So go ahead, go to the next one. By the numbers, we're 100,000 residents. You guys know this, 13 cities and towns, 10 port districts, 9 school districts. Our ag production is $2.6 billion a year, and our county budget at $319 million. 1,265+ miles of roads, and we have 50+ interlocal agreements. I think it's really good for the public to know about this stuff, understand just how wide the footprint of county government is. And I think it's an opportunity for us, again, to work with our ports, our cities. I know I was talking to Rob Carlindsey about this, City of Moses Lake and Ray. They're actually excited about this, want to take part. I've asked them, hey, tell me things you want highlighted that are happening in your areas. And when the posts that are specific to your areas come out, we'll make sure that stuff is amplified. So I think they're kind of excited about it. I think it's a great opportunity to move along with the National Association of Counties initiatives and to engage with the public. So I think that's the last one. You can go to the next one. So we'll amplify, we'll share and engage with posts from department accounts. We'll ask people to tag the county page when they post related content. Our elected officials may I hope that they'll engage and answer some questions and tag us. Send photos of teams at work for authentic content. If there's people, maybe Public Works wants to show guys working on the roads or whatever, they can, when they respond, or they can tag it and they can put a picture of us doing work, whatever. And respond to the public comments on posts, just again, engage. So that's it. I'm planning on starting this. The first post will be March 16th and the last one will be October 5th. And again, before the posts go out, they're like just little bullet points. There's 8 or 9 different items, but at the end of it, there's hashtags and it always says, hey, leave your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what you think. And I'll send them to the commissioners so you can see them before they go out and kind of know what to expect if you hear about things on Facebook. But that's what I have for that presentation. Any thoughts on that?
Great.
Cindy?
Looks good
I
to
think
me.
it's good.
Good.
I'm just writing it down.
All right. Good deal. Take it away, Kate.
Thanks for doing that, Tom.
Yeah.
So one of the things from one of the updates earlier, that point in pay for public records, I was reading through the information that Emily had sent me, and it looks like there's a $500 startup fee for public records to join into that. Would the commissioners be all right with that? Do you want me to put that on consent?
And that's just a one-time fee, correct?
From what I understand, yes.
Mhm.
Yes, one-time fee.
Are there fees for the people that are paying? They charge a
Yes.
fee and then,
Usually it's
so that doesn't cost us for each time somebody uses it.
Correct.
They pay, correct, okay.
Right now, they have to pay cash, come to the counter and pay cash.
Yep, and it has to be exact change. And then the public records, Emily and Mike handwrite receipts with that little copy
Receipt book.
paper.
And people can still pay cash,
But yes, yeah,
but
but
Nobody pays cash anymore. Some places it's discouraged.
$3.19.
Or not allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be way easier for them to be able to pay with the card.
You guys are good with that?
Will there be a way for them to do that at our desk?
Yes. Yep. Well. No, wait, Emily said no. Did you say at your desk?
Emily, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, well, you maybe chime in.
She's right, she's there.
Emily?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I had to get my microphone on. There are options for us to have card readers at the front counter, as most of the people that are wanting to pay with cards aren't here. I think the idea we had was just to provide an online portal. If people came in, they could quickly do it on their phones. I believe there's also an option for them to call and pay over the phone.
Okay.
So there won't be any way for them to pay at the counter, other than cash?
They can pay with cash, check, money order, cashier's check. We could look into also having a card reader at the front counter if we want to. But I think that generally most of the people are wanting to pay aren't here with a card.
Is it possible to have like an iPad set up that they could do it on an iPad?
They wouldn't need it. It would just be a little, if we had one, it'd just be a normal tap and pay kind of a thing. So.
On our website, essentially, there would just be a link that would take them to the portal. We could also add it onto our business cards with a QR code that they could scan. The link will be sent to them in the messages that they get, letting them know that the records are ready. So there would be lots of ways for us to let them know that we now take those as well.
Okay. Most people can navigate that.
So I think we're good on that.
The next thing I had, Tourism Advisory Committee had a meeting last week. They discussed the size of the 2026 travel planner. I had reached out to Rochelle about getting printing quotes for the smaller travel planner size. And the quotes that Journal Graphics, it's the printing company that Ray had recommended, all of that was for a full-size travel planner. Rochelle had said that she looked through the notes and the documents that Ray had sent over, and everything that they had quoted for had been for full-size. So it's not true 8.5 by 11, but it's not much smaller. And tourism's recommendation to the board was to continue on with the publication of this full-size travel planner because the cost and the time to size it down would be extensive. I'm seeking direction from the board.
So they've already put it together?
They have not printed anything. They've said.
No, but they've done the format, they formatted everything and.
Yeah, they've already got it set up.
Okay. So it's pretty much done, other than printing.
Set up, done wrong.
Yeah, somewhere along the lines, the communication wasn't corrected for the size, but we're gonna do what we're planning on doing for next year. We won't have this problem again. That's my opinion.
You guys want to continue on then with the full size?
I don't really want to, but I'm just one.
I don't want to, but I don't wanna not
But
do
what's a
it.
significant cost?
They would have to stop production and rewrite quotes for everything.
Well, then they'd have to change everything that they've already done.
And we would need to do an amendment to their agreement to include whatever that quote would be. Would you like me to get quotes for that, or do you want?
No, I just thought we were really going to a smaller size.
I thought we were changing it. If it was just, this was a business, I'd say, hey, thank you for your time. What do I owe you? And cancel the print. That's what I would do.
But I
Because,
don't think if they didn't get the information.
yeah, how did they not get the information? We met with them, told them the information. So whoever represents us did not pass on our information properly, is what happened. Does that line up with your opinion? or your recollection.
Yeah, I think, yes.
Do we have books from last year?
Yes, but they all say 2020,
But we do have some books.
not many.
Trying to figure out what the cost. The printing has got to be cheaper because it's a smaller book.
But you guys may bring this back for more discussion later.
No, we probably should proceed forward with what? I mean, it's not their fault that they were not notified, they were not told.
This is a prime example of why we're doing what we're doing.
I think we need to continue forward.
So, but I don't not want to do one.
Then when it comes to printing, Journal Graphics was the cheapest
In
quote.
Oregon,
No, I think that one,
Arizona.
I think they have an office in Tacoma.
Okay.
It's the one that J. Ray had recommended.
And it was the cheapest.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess let's just go to that one since we didn't check out prices.
Does our consultant get any percentage on print? Or no?
No. Journal Graphics would be contracting with the county directly to avoid any additional fees.
What about on J. Ray's setup?
I think that
Is
we
there
contract
any
with them.
percentage with the contract?
For printing?
No, just in general. Like, do they still get the split of a percentage of print? Or does she just have her set? I just think it's kind of ridiculous. That was pretty clear what was expected all around.
Did the tourism board?
Well, the tourism board, they have this idea in their head that they'll just tell us what we're gonna do and we'll do it, because you know, that's the way you work together and create a good product. I don't know, I'm kind of over how it's working the last few years. So if you could please write that job description so we can move on, that'd be great. This is the third year in a row they've screwed it up. See, I said I was saving my opinion for later.
So we have two commissioners going to go forward then?
Yeah, I think we need to, I would love to do a smaller one, but I feel like we waste time.
Everything else back up.
Okay,
What's that?
So I'll bring everything else later.
it is 11 o'clock. We're moving on to our position management review.
I feel like
Morning, everyone.
get you.
Morning, what a room full today.
Who would like to start?
Thank you for emailing him. Dan won't be able to get his steps in today because he won't be passing out a lot of papers.
Do you want to start with
This is true.
development services? A moment, please.
What are we starting with?
We're going to start with development services.
The environmental planner.
Yes. Just waiting to pull. Dan is pulling up his data.
It's not showing up here.
Shared.
Just had to be patient.
There you go. Oh, we have almost a full house. This is really exciting to have so much engagement. Love it. Oh, you need the cord?
I'm sorry, I moved it. Thank you.
All right, first position is an environmental planner. This is a new position, and I have Jim and Michelle here to present. Jim will be presenting though.
Well, good. So then I can bark next slide. So don't need to review the mission statement for Grant County, but I do want to point out we'll back up one for me, Dan. Do want to point out the mission statement for development services, because I don't think we've shared this with the board in the past. We, a couple of years ago, Chris and I had gone through and had a little bit of a competition with the department and came up with a new mission statement for development services. And that's to foster a thriving, resilient, and safe community through innovative planning, efficient building processes, and robust fire prevention measures. Wanted to take the opportunity to thank the board. You know, we've been in front of you the last month or so in trying to expand and do just that and establish more robust fire prevention measures. What we're asking for today is something that fosters more of an innovative planning. We're striving for some more innovative planning measures, and that is an environmental planner. So if we want to roll to the next slide, please, Dan. In a nutshell, and I've talked to the board about environmental review and challenges therein, but you know, we're experiencing continued growth with renewable energy development and infrastructure and just general rural land use activity. For those in the room that outside of the board, you guys know, or you don't know, that we're on pace again to eclipse or set a record both with permits and permit revenue this year. We track those numbers over a 20-year span. We set a record 2 years ago, and we came in second last year, and we're probably going to set a new record this year, and we're only at the beginning of the third month. So to effectively manage this demand, what we're asking for is a dedicated environmental planner that specializes in the environmental review and critical area compliance. If we want to roll to the next slide, I won't bore everybody reading all of it. The challenge is that large-scale renewable energy projects and infrastructure development, as they expand, they require detailed analysis of impacts specific to shrub steppe, not specific to shrub steppe, but shrub steppe ecosystems and cultural resources, and the coordination of the mitigation strategies that's required to deal with that. If, you know, without a dedicated environmental planner, somebody that specializes in it, it leaves the general planning staff to evaluate these complex environmental reports. And really, as I've got highlighted in bold, it really opens this up to quite significant legal exposure. So by establishing this position, it will allow us to maintain those predictable permit review timelines that I talk about all the time, ensure compliance with state and federal environmental regulations, support responsible development, specifically in the renewable sector, protect the sensitive environmental and cultural resources, and then provide technically sound and legal defensible environmental decisions. So here's the request. This dedicated environmental planner, after doing comps, thank you, Dan, very much. It's been about 6 months in the works. We came back and estimated that this ask is about $93,650 annually. The job description is in the text below. I won't read out the job description. I think everybody kind of understands what it is that this person does. I'd like to point out that we do have an internal candidate, and should this person be selected, the difference to the budget would be approximately $7,000. If we want to go to the next slide. Again, benefits, improve compliance, protection of our critical areas, reduce legal risk, efficient processing of permits, improve coordination with agencies and tribes. That's key. Having one person as a point of contact, a consistent point of contact, building those relationships with those agencies and tribes is critical to the success of not only our department, but of this position. Enhanced review of complex environmental studies. Currently, we've got 10 very, very, very complex environmental reviews that are being conducted right now in my office. Support for renewable energy infrastructure projects, improve mitigation and habitat conservation. They also will support our long-range planning efforts and policy development, and then a stronger public confidence and transparency. So thank you for your time. I'd like to take questions.
You mentioned the position that you had internal candidate. Would you be backfilling that position?
We don't have plans to backfill the position.
So would you still be able to process quicker, even not backfilling?
Yeah, so the person that's in the position now is an assistant planner, and their primary role is to review building permit applications, and then they have been conducting a lot of this environmental work already. The building permit applications would be, those tasks would be assigned to the associate planners. And now that I have Michelle's help, quite frankly, let me back up, Commissioner Jones. It has been nice to have a single planner, the sole point of review for those building permits, because that review has been consistent. As opposed to what has happened in the past, those responsibilities have been assigned to 3 planners, and the review has been very inconsistent, as you would expect. The plan going forward would be to not backfill the position, because I understand we're in a hiring freeze, and so we're trying to be fiscally responsible. However, we are going to assign those building permit reviews to our 2 existing associate planners, and also then I have the management help to be able to also monitor those reviews for consistency, meaning it's going to give those 2 planners an opportunity to grow and understand the building permit review processes and the expectations, so that those 2 can have a consistent building permit review instead of it being just sole source. I'm oversimplifying it, but that's the intent.
Is the person not in this position currently doing this duty?
Yes.
So you're just looking to change the position to match the duty in the position. So it's not going to increase the speed tomorrow with a new position creation?
No.
Payroll, any questions, concerns?
So this is not a new position, it's kind of a modification of one you already have?
It is effectively a new position that we have an internal candidate available
Already?
Already to fill.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have no plans on backfilling the assistant planner position that this person is currently in. However, we don't want to mothball that position, so to speak.
Okay.
So it should the county's fiscal position change and we be in a position to fill that position, because it is a valued position, we just understand currently the times that we're in probably doesn't warrant backfilling that position.
Okay, thank you.
But you don't want it archived?
I don't want it archived, thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay. Budget?
It looked like it had been budgeted in the 2026 budget.
Agreement with that?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Commissioners, any other questions?
And then thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll bring it back tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks.
Deputy Assessor?
No, I need to get All right, so the next position is a deputy assessor, and this position was already approved, it was posted. But due to other competing priorities, we didn't move forward with filling it in 2025. So, but that was of course before the hiring freeze. So we're representing this position, and
I'm here.
The assessor's here to speak to it in terms of justifying why we need it.
Yeah, the only reason we didn't get it filled in
2025, because we did go out for it at the end of 2025, but that was when we were sending out change value notices, which then we were in our appeal period, starting levies, trying to get the LTIF built up in our software system and to do levies. And then we also had 3 people go out on FMLA. So we've been busy. So we did not get a chance when we started looking at the resumes. They're pretty much, those people have probably already moved on. So I talked to Dan about, what do we do in this instance? And so here we are. It was budgeted for. Had it not been so crazy in my office at the end of 25, we would have had somebody already in there. But we do need that position filled. Like today, we have one person, she's out sick. So we have 2 people covering the front counters and 4 lines of phones. So that pulls other people off. And then we still have 2 people out on FMLA. We have 1 back part-time. So we're a little struggling, but we're trying to make do.
So the plan would be to notify everybody electronically who applied on the position, just to let them know that the position's been reposted, and then they'll have an opportunity to go in and apply, along with any other new applicants.
Any questions from the board on that one? Okay.
I know she's struggling,
Thank you.
so let's get something in there.
This is the budget. Any concerns? Payroll?
So the people that have already applied, would they be given priority over any new?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring that one back tomorrow. Thank you. Accounting tech. This is for Renew.
So this is another backfill for an accounting tech, and I'm not sure if anybody from Renew is online. If not, I can cover it. Yeah, Dell's in a better, nicer place, I guess.
Better location.
Living it up, living the dream, living the dream. That's what he's doing, living the dream. So this position, the accounting tech position, was recently filled, but unfortunately had to be, the person vacated the position due to personal circumstances. So we'd like to move forward with filling it as quickly as possible. And the position supports the financial services department within Renew, and processes invoices and does other financial administrative transactions as well.
Any questions about that backfill?
Oh, I mean, yes.
Okay. Finances should be in place. Okay, any questions from payroll?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. And that brings us to the sheriff's position.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
You're welcome to say goodbye.
Okay.
Thank you. So this presentation will be for another sergeant within the sheriff's office for the training unit specifically. A mission statement of the sheriff's office to enhance the quality of public safety through unbiased public service and cooperation with the communities that we serve. I think the board's pretty familiar with the county's mission statement, so I wanted to just provide that one as far as the sheriff's office went. So for the overview, the purpose of the request is this request seeks approval to establish a training sergeant position responsible for centralized oversight of all agency training, including field training programs and mandated certification requirements. The sheriff's office currently does not have a single command level position dedicated to managing training compliance, documentation, and delivery across divisions. Training responsibilities are spread across multiple staff, which increases the risk of inconsistency, missed requirements, and non-compliance with state mandates. The necessity of this position ensures compliance with the Washington State Peace Officer Certification requirement including the annual 24-hour in-service training mandate. It provides direct oversight of field training officers and the field training program, ensures compliance with patrol tactics and service training, and supports the Washington State law enforcement accreditation standards. Centralized oversight improves accountability, standardization, and documentation while reducing certification liability and audit risks. Creating this position establishes a clear ownership of training responsibilities, strengthens training governance, and ensures the agency remains compliant, prepared, and aligned with evolving state standards and best practices. I think you might be one ahead of me, I think.
She was trying to find where you were,
Oh,
so she was
sorry,
looking.
I'm sorry. Go back to the current challenges and problems, Gina, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. So increasing state mandated training and requirements. Washington State has implemented an expanded patrol tactics in service, or PTI, police training initiative, that the requirements beginning of January of this year. In 2028, the agency must ensure every commission employee is compliant with a minimum or completed a minimum of 24 hours of police training, initiative training, or police training in service within a three-year cycle. This requirement applies to all current law enforcement deputies hired after the mandated implementation date, and any employee required to maintain peace officer certification. The complex compliance and tracking burden of this, PTI mandates require individualized tracking by hire date, certification cycle, and training completion status. Compliance must be documented and auditable under certain WAC codes governing peace officer certification and service training and maintenance of standards, Without centralized oversight, the risk of missed deadlines, incompleted documentation, and certification lapses increase. On the decentralized training oversight, training responsibilities are currently distributed across multiple assignments. No single position has full ownership of PTI training and scheduling, annual certification, training compliance, and field training oversight. This long-term planning and consistency causes a problem with that when we don't have any consistent place of keeping all that stuff in the auditing. Accreditation, organizational risk, failure to meet the mandated training standards jeopardizes the Washington State law enforcement accreditation. Non-compliance increases exposure to audits, liability, and operational readiness concerns. Why this must be addressed now is our PTI requirement is already in effect and will compound annually through 2028. Delaying centralized training leadership increases the risk of falling behind and having to recover compliance under time pressure. Training compliance and data. I think that's the next slide, Gina. Try to go through this a little bit quick. It's just kind of outlines what our training issues that we have. We have 65 total sworn deputies. PTI hours required for employees of 24 hours every 3 years, which the required agency-wide is 4,680 hours every 3 years. Annual PTI training load to be about 1,560 hours annually. Additional in-service requirement of 24 hours per employee, including corrections, is about 2,736 hours annually. Now that your PTI hours can be used for your 24 hours of mandated training that we have to have annually, but it can't go the other way. So you have specific police training, in-service training that has to be done that's outside of the 24-hour certification requirement. Training must be scheduled all around 24-hour operations, minimum staffing levels, leave court, specialty assignments, requires centralized planning, tracking, documentation to remain compliant. Why centralized training oversight matters: prevents last-minute compliance gaps, ensures accurate documentation for audits and accreditation, reduces disruption of patrol operations. We've had a little bit of this already happening year after year, coming down to the end of December, realizing that some of our training hours have been narrowly missed by some of our staff, and we've had to assign them to a desk to make sure that they meet their mandated training. So we've already had some things that have narrowly slipped through, and we've been able to catch it at the last minute, which is not fantastic. So next slide, please, Gina. The position and the scope is the request to assign a training sergeant responsible for all agency-wide training, including annual in-service requirements. Already covered this. The duties of position is the mandate, manages 24-hour annual training requirement, tracks PTI hours within the 3-year cycle, supervises training officers, ensures training documentation meets the state and accreditation standards. Classification and wages, the role remains with the existing sergeant classification of $123,718.44 with no change in pay scale or benefits. Of course, outside of collective bargaining agreements and things like that. I think as of right now, it's at 123 and some change. This position is kind of cost neutral for 2026, supported by the existing sergeant wage that's being paid currently to somebody that is not holding that position. Salary savings from unfilled position, including my vacancy of the chief deputy role of this year. I don't plan on filling that role this year until after November. Next slide, Gina. Thank you. Cost neutral use of existing funds. A position uses existing sergeant wages that we are currently paying a sergeant's salary without supervising assignments. Savings from an unfilled chief deputy position and 5 vacant positions allows us to cover this role without increasing the budget this year. Improved training and efficiency and accountability. Centralized training under one sergeant eliminates duplication. Improved scheduling and ensures training hours are tracked and applied correctly. This allows command staff and supervisors to focus on operations instead of managing training issues. Reduced compliance and accreditation risk. A dedicated training sergeant ensures compliance with annual in-service training, PTI and LETC requirements, and the WAC requirements, Washington State Law Enforcement Accreditation Standards, and reduces certification lapses of audit findings and liability exposure. Strong operational readiness. Consistent, well-documented training results in better prepared deputies, improved professionalism, and more resilient organization. Next slide, please. The 2026 cost neutral period for the remainder of 26. This position is supported through existing salaries that we have savings and also does not increase the current budget. 2027, when the chief deputy position is filled, the training sergeant will require FTE funding. In addition, standard one-time equipment costs will be needed to support the FTE. And as we do with that, every budget season, that will be included in our budget requests coming into the 2027 budget year. Why this is manageable, equipment and staffing costs are consistent with normal onboarding and can be planned during the 27 budget cycle to avoid any unexpected costs that we may see. So it's very forecastable for the 2027 year. And I think that might be.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So the training sergeant's gonna require one-time estimated costs. Is that really true? Will you, because isn't there already a sergeant? They would just be there.
They would, but once like currently right now, or the vacant chief deputy position right now, person that used to hold that position currently holds the equipment and everything from that open vacancy right now. So we have, like right now, we have some vehicles that aren't completed to be in cycle, right? So until that happens, they have to use the current equipment that we have. But anytime we add an additional FTE, we have to add equipment for that new person coming in. So we don't have an extra bank of equipment sitting and waiting for another full-time employee to come in. We budget that in when we have a new FTE for 2027. It wouldn't need it for this year, but in 27 we would.
Because the chief deputy position is in, they just kept their stuff.
Correct.
But when and if you fill, then you need it again.
Yeah, and with the other vacancies that we currently have within our budget now, that equipment can also be used for that coming in FTE or the training sergeant position that would come in that would end up to be an FTE, but we have plenty of equipment to be used now for the current 26 year.
Okay.
Even if all of our current open positions are filled, we would still have the equipment to do it with the open chief deputy slot. So.
I ask a question, make sure I'm tracking.
Sure.
So when I see trained sergeant, I don't think of like road deputies. So when I see gear and all this stuff, are you talking about weapons, belts, the whole night? I mean,
yeah.
Are they like a road deputy?
Fully commissioned supervisor, absolutely. Okay. So if we need to have them fill a law enforcement role on the road, on patrol, they're capable of doing that. Yeah.
So I guess that answers my question.
Yeah.
Why a sergeant and not?
Yeah, so we have a hard time, like for instance, if you have a deputy in that position, the deputy can't go to a sergeant and say, I order you to sit in your desk to finish your training, sergeant, that you're behind on. Now you have to have a chief deputy come in or a lieutenant come in to direct that sergeant to complete their training hours. It's because a deputy can't do that. The direction doesn't roll uphill. So having a sergeant in
Well, I
that
would
position.
think there's somebody in your office, an office staff should be able to tell them if they want a
Yeah,
job, they would.
well, they should, but again, if you have a deputy in that position, then all of a sudden the chief deputy has to do the job the sergeant could be doing in that position. Now you have somebody that is being pulled away from duties they have, whether it's a lieutenant or whoever, or even another sergeant, that now has to manage the other sergeant doing the training because the training deputy doesn't outrank that individual to order them to do that. And rank structure doesn't work that way. So, and the supervisor. So that's why you have a supervisor in that position. They're able to mandate people to sit down and complete training to make sure that gets done.
That makes sense.
Payroll?
I do have a question. I'm a little confused. So
Okay.
you said you have one sergeant position open,
No,
but no.
I do not have a sergeant's position open right now. I have somebody that was a sergeant that is currently still being paid at that level.
Okay,
When they were in the reassignment during the structuring of the vacancy of my chief deputy position,
okay,
that person that used to hold the chief deputy position was reinstated back to a patrol sergeant, which bumped down the lowest seniority sergeant
okay,
back to a lower classification of position.
okay,
But they're still maintaining their sergeant pay right now.
okay. That's.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wasn't able to find that one, so.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, any questions from the commissioners?
I don't have any more questions.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Dan, did it work well for you or Gina to email this? Was it more of a hassle? It was really nice having all the information right here.
Yeah, oh, so it was good. I
Okay.
think it was fine.
How long do you think? Stay? Okay. Well, see you then. All right.
And look at it, we did it in 30 minutes, just in time for our 11:30.
Didn't know if there's another one after us.
All right, it is 11:30. We'll move into our commissioner work session.
Okay, so you don't need us now?
Sorry.
No, we're gonna leave you.
Keeping you on your toes.
Thanks, guys.
See you.
This is our work session?
This is our work session.
Well, we may not be needing to set up that meeting. It just said, Justice Department has reached a deal with Live Nations, Ticketmaster, which Live Nations will be forced to pay $300 million in damages to the 40 states sued over inflated concert ticket prices. That deal also required Live Nations to sell many of its amphitheaters. May not have a problem. I mean, we may not need to set up a.
Well, it won't be with Live Nation. It'll be with somebody else, I assume. They'll sell it out.
Thanks, Dan.
No wonder.
Anyway,
Crazy.
so we may put that on hold for a little bit. See how things shake out.
You said 300 million?
$1/3 of $1 billion. Well, almost $1/3 of $1 billion.
Jeez. Crazy.
Well, the board asked to have this work session to talk about office procedures. And I've got Tom and Decorah here for your guys' request. It said that you wanted to discuss how the office would run with the new clerk of the board. So I guess, do you guys have questions or?
Yeah,
I don't want to be rude, but,
yeah, you can leave.
okay.
You don't like us?
No.
I've got things to do. I've got things to do, places to go, people to see.
I heard Tom and Decorah, so, and they're here, so.
Okay.
If that's okay.
We're good?
Okay.
Thank you.
Go run down the sheriff.
Yes.
So Cindy, you wanted to have the meeting, so.
Yeah, I just wanted to see how the office flow, is this to get a deputy clerk, is this the right position we need? If we make some changes, I'm wondering if we should go into executive session since we're talking about
You're talking about job duties.
Okay.
Are you talking about anything else?
Well, no, I'll move forward on it.
I think priority one is getting the deputy clerk position filled. So we got an empty cubicle in there. She can't be saddled with absolutely everything and needs the help. So I think that's our number one priority.
So will the deputy clerk, will they lose their, kind of the contribution from tourism? Will they still be over tourism if we do in-house tourism?
No, they won't be over tourism anymore.
Okay, so we'll lose, what is it, 30% of the salary is paid for by tourism?
25%, yeah, is tourism, and then 25% is also paid by LTAC, so that. the
So we
new
lose
position-
50%?
Yep, they would have 25% of their wages from tourism, 25% from LTAC.
Okay. This will be gone. I just want to.
Yeah, so we need to be aware of that going into the next budget season, that's going to be a hit on the.
Well, because that's like a
budget.
new employee, yeah.
Okay.
But not until 2027.
Well,
when are we looking at hiring this person?
It's gonna hit in 2026 because depending on the speed at which we get this new tourism person hired, so.
It won't affect tourism because my wages come from tourism's budget from January through March. So
Okay.
any new clerk taking over for tourism, it wouldn't affect them. LTAC, we have it like scheduled the months of the year, but I have to go in and manually change the pay codes. So having the wages come from LTAC can wait until we know for sure who the clerk is. That does not have to be, I think it normally comes out April, May, and June, I think. But again, it's flexible. It's all on how I code it when I do payroll.
Okay, and so our two public works officers are busy with public works.
Public records.
Sorry, yeah, public records.
Currently, Emily is doing accounts payable while I get my feet under me.
And then that will be moved back over to either the deputy or, okay, and then Carrie, our grants person.
She's doing grants and she's doing coverage in the mailroom, which will probably expand. I know that for April, we're gonna have some coverage gaps that I can't talk about outside of executive session.
Can we go into executive session?
No,
Okay.
I don't need to.
Okay.
I'm just saying that, it's gonna be a good time for me to see how well that collateral overlap works. So we've talked about that in executive session in the past, so, but yeah, so.
We have the on-call mailroom clerk, Jackie, that has now started in the treasurer's office.
And that posting is out there for an on-call. Actually, it will be posted this week, so, sorry. Yeah.
Then do we have her old position posted or?
The deputy clerk, yeah.
Yep, as posted.
Takers yet?
I haven't looked this morning.
I haven't gotten an email.
Thousands.
I usually get an email, so.
Darn it.
So I'd like to discuss some things. We probably should go into executive session with personnel for like 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay, we were gonna go into executive session for 5 minutes.
And you want Caitlin to remain for
Caitlin,
this?
you can stay here. Probably fine. It impacts our office.
36, we're going in personnel disciplinary matters, RCW 42.30.110.
Oh, it should be I think it's evaluation. It should be the one up above.
Job evaluation.
Yeah.
So, I stand to be corrected, because we're gonna go into executive session for job applicant evaluation, RCW 42.30.1101G, coming out at 11:42.
I can't count.
Going in at 11:37.
Yeah.
11:42, we are gonna extend for another 10 minutes to 11:52.
Might be. We need to go have a.
It is 11:52, we're out of executive session, no decisions were made.
I'm out of that.
Thank you, Tom, for opening up the parking lot over here. There's some ample
Yeah, you
parking
bet.
spots.
I'm glad we just had that. Can I have a mental health day now?
Yeah.
Okay, so does the board have the clarity that it was looking for?
I think so.
No clarity.
No clarity.
Yeah. That'll be a deputy clerk.
Kind of been that kind of a day for you today.
I think the
So-
only thing will be the salary
Great.
will be the same until a new, tourism person is on board, then we'll have to adjust the salary.
So yes, the deputy clerk is posted, we'll get that, we'll get the job description written for the other thing, and we'll figure out that salary and how it's funded, so.
I have a question for Deborah, random question.
Yes.
Do you have a problem, or does any of your staff asking other people to take classes and letting them know what is a requirement of? Do you feel like it needs to be a supervisory higher level to execute that?
I think given the legality of it and the risks involved, I would be in support.
Having a higher level?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Somebody should be maintaining that. The sheriff's office.
Well, isn't, my understanding is it's a requirement now from the state, it comes from the state level.
Yeah.
That, am I missing something?
And is it the position that's being paid more?
Mhm.
It's gonna be that person?
Correct.
Okay.
We've got 5 minutes, right? Can we go back into executive session?
Yeah, I think if we're gonna talk about it
And-
further, it
well,
needs to
and I
be
wanna,
an exec.
yeah, and I wanna talk about,
Okay.
disciplinary.
Okay, so it'll go back to
Disciplinary matters. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, till noon, want to go till noon?
Yeah, that's fine. And you can, for what I'm talking, Caleb can stay.
We're gonna go back into executive session until 12 noon, it's 11:54 for personnel disciplinary matters, RCW 42.30.110(1)F.
That's for tomorrow's meeting.
All right, it is 12
It's
o'clock,
another
we're
day.
out of executive session, no decisions were made, and we're going into recess until tomorrow morning, 9 a.m.